Let me know when you're ready, Mr. Mars. Boy, that's loud.
It is.
It's your go-to place for everything entertaining car talk. The In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. Good morning to you. Just ahead, we try to make heads or tails with car insurance by talking to the folks at Lending Tree. Jeff has a feature on the rerun world of Motor Trend TV.
Yes.
Later, we talk to Ford about the F-150 Lightning, plus the stories making automotive news headlines, along with Conrad's Car Clinic. It's all straight ahead on this edition of the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. Howdy, along with Mike out of this world, Mars, King Conrad DeLong. We need more Jeff Seekin. I'm Don Armstrong. Glad you could join us for this Saturday morning. Gentlemen, how's everybody?
Doing well.
Wonderful. Glad to be here.
Yeah.
Super duper.
Had frost on my windshield this morning.
Of course, now, Mars lives out in the northwest part of town. And that's
what Conrad does.
Conrad does.
I'm
Mars.
sorry.
Mars lives in the far east.
Mars,
Mars lives next to Louisiana.
I was just going to say, we don't really know where Mars lives. It's a place called Neaterville, and it's kind of like Hooterville.
Pixley.
Well, that's the town next door.
Yeah, it's the big town.
Yeah. But at any rate, so I'm sorry, you live up on the northwest side.
He lives by Raleigh.
Had frost.
Frost. Well, we didn't have frost here, I'm glad to say.
So I literally got out a credit card and was scraping my windshield before I left the house.
You did not.
Yep. It's a little bit while I was late.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good. Well, we're all here, and we got a great show lined up for you today, and we hope that you enjoy it. 3 full hours of nothing but entertaining car talk.
Come
on. And matter of fact, speaking of which, joining us right now from Joycey is Divya. And Divya, I'm going to ask you that she did it earlier before we went on.
She did it
the air.
well, too.
She did it well. To pronounce your last name. And make it right now. Make it so we all know.
It's Sangameshwar.
Yeah, that's why it's going to be Divya this morning, and we're just going to go with that.
That works for me.
Okay, thank you. So she is with a company called Lending Tree, and actually it's part of a larger group, and it's valuepenguin.com. So, and we're going to talk about auto insurance sticker shock. Now, me personally, I have not had this. Of course, I've got minimum car coverage on the Corvette because
knock on wood,
because the Corvette is 22 years old now. So I don't have a lot invested in it, and it's just not worth it for me to spend gobs and gobs of money when I drive the car maybe once every couple of months for a day or two. So you can exclude me kind of from the conversation. So I'm going to be the outside looking in. Expected to increase 8.4% auto insurance in 2023 based on rate filings submitted by insurers in late 22. So I guess like groceries and everything else, it's going up too. Why?
It's very simple. You know, it hasn't been going up for several years. It's been fairly flat. But then the pandemic came, and with it, inflation, it's just more expensive to repair cars. There are labor shortages. So that's one part of it. The other part is we're all back on the roads again. We're going to work. We're going to school. And with more people on the road, there are more accidents. That means more claims and also more expensive claims from, like I said, really expensive to repair cars. And also other factors like bad weather, meaning there are more cars totaled because of flooding. We don't really think about that, but that's also a factor. So when you add all of this together, it just leads to higher insurance rates because insurance companies will set their rates for the year ahead based off of how much money they spent in the past year. So 2022 was an expensive year for them, so they're raising rates in 2023.
Of course they are, yeah. And I understand that Illinois, of all places, has the largest rate hike averaging 17%, Arizona 15%, New Hampshire 13%. Why so much in those particular states?
So it's really hard for us to pin down why some states are going to have that much of a higher rate increase compared to other states. But it comes down to the same equation. More claims, more expensive claims lead to higher rates. There's also another factor. Insurance companies have to submit their rate increase requests to local authorities, the insurance commissioner's office, and it's a negotiation, and this is what they have negotiated to increase.
Divya,
So it may go back and forth a few times.
is it because
Go
of
ahead.
those states? The people are leaving those states, so the monetary pool is less for those states because folks are leaving, or is that a factor?
I mean, it's one of the factors. When you think of a place like Illinois, there's also, it's very snowy, so they may have more accidents. And insurance companies may also raise rates on other factors like, safety. Is that area high in crime? Like I know some parts of Illinois might be. And, even in a place like Florida, which has the second highest insurance rates, that's a state that gets a lot of hurricanes. So, that factors in our cars getting flooded and totaled. So it's a very complicated equation. It's really hard for us to give you specifics on why some states are seeing higher rate increases and some states aren't. But it comes down to the same basic numbers.
Does the
More claims, more expensive claims,
population
more
of
money spent on insurance.
does the population of retirees also impact that? The older the driver, the higher the incidence, the accident.
That's a really good question. It probably does, but when we've done the math on it, we've actually found that younger drivers are a little more expensive to insure than older drivers. I'm talking 16 to 20 age group. They tend to be much more higher risk than older drivers. They're more likely to get into dangerous accidents. So the age of the driver might be a factor, but I don't think it's as big a factor as the weather or just overall safety and risk of that area.
Well, one of the statistics that you provided us is the fact that some drivers that have lots of tickets, that those drivers, some of them, their premiums can jump by 52%.
Wow.
Holy Toledo.
Wow.
I mean, that's on average, and that's the average for speeding, a DUI, and an at-fault crash. So it's a lot higher in some states. If you look at the table, it's 115% in North Carolina.
Wow.
And I don't think it's so bad in Texas, though. I feel like Texas is a little more forgiving.
Yeah, we're safer down here.
But your rate can also be impacted for a non-at-fault incident, correct?
It can be, but it won't be as much. It will
So,
be very small compared to an at-fault accident or a DUI. A DUI is probably the worst thing
Oh,
you
yeah.
can get
Well,
in terms
and
of
it
your
should be,
insurance
yeah.
rates.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's for good reason. Now, when you have any kind of a traffic violation or you get into an accident where you're at fault, the insurance company is going to look at you and say, well, this person is a risky driver. So I need to adjust my rates
Bars.
to protect me from the risk of this driver. And that's why, they raise rates.
Well, here's another stat that you supplied in the fact that new electric vehicles will be 28% higher than new gasoline-powered cars. Why is that?
I mean, it's really, it comes down to how expensive electric vehicles are to repair. I mean, think about it. EVs are essentially computers on four wheels. They have a lot of technology built into them. The batteries are expensive to repair or replace. And when a car is expensive to buy and to repair, it automatically becomes expensive to insure.
And to continue on the conversation like that, for instance, the Tesla Model Y is averaging over $3,000, the highest insurance premium in 2023.
Wow.
I think the only car that's a little more expensive than that is a Porsche Taycan. And that's not surprising because it's an electric sports car. But the Model Y was a little surprising to us because it's a car that's, bought by families. It's a in the Tesla universe, I guess it's a mid-priced car. However, insurance companies will set rates based off of the previous year's claims and cost of claims. So I guess there must have been a lot of Tesla Model Ys that got into accidents in the past couple of years.
What is the
And that's why
average?
it's so expensive
What is
to
the
insure.
average monthly? Well, let me do it. Let's do it by the year. What's the average yearly premium for a regular run-of-the-mill car?
Absolutely. So for 2023, that's expected to be $1,780 for full coverage car insurance.
1780.
So roughly $300 a month.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
But keep in mind, this is an average.
No, I understand.
This is an average. It includes Michigan. So Michigan always skews the number because Michigan is the most expensive state
that's
for
right.
car insurance.
It's more expensive than
Texas is
California.
actually not too bad.
Uh,
Michigan is the most expensive state to get insurance.
I'll be darned.
Full stop. It is 168% more than the average cost of insurance. I think their average annual costs for 2023 we pegged at $4,788 per year.
Wow.
that's
I
unbelievable.
would bet on California.
So down here in Texas, let's say you've got a 15-year-old granddaughter that just got her permit, and she's already got AAA. She's already signed up for AAA for the aspects that they give. So something like that, does that skew the number as well?
No, so when we calculated our average, we actually used a sample driver. And this sample driver is a 30-year-old who drives a Honda sedan, has a clean driving record, and good credit, because we wanted to do an apples-to-apples comparison to get into how much insurance companies are raising rates, independent of your driving factors, because that to us was the big story. Your rates could go up or not go up as much as what we're saying because of your driving record or because of, your discounts or other factors. But if insurance companies are raising rates, then we wanted to let Americans know so that when they get their renewals in the mail this year, they're not going to be shocked and think, hey, I didn't drive much. I was a good driver. I didn't get a single ticket in my name, So why are my rates going up? Well, it's because insurance companies are raising them. And this is as pure a number as we can get for you without any outside factors.
Let me ask you this. So why is it that I see on television all the time that advertising for Allstate will save me $652 a year? And then AAA says, I'll save you $595 a year. How is that possible?
Well, that's the next point I was going to make. Just because your rates are going up doesn't mean you're stuck with them. You made a really good point about the ads, because what the ads are encouraging you to do is shop around and look for other insurance companies to see if they'll offer you a better deal. And more often than not, they will. We did a survey about this in 2022, and what we found is less than 30% of Americans shop around for insurance, but 95% of those who did said they were able to shave off some dollars from their insurance premiums. Some of them said they were able to save as much as $200 per year on their insurance premium. So,
Wow.
And this is an average figure based off of a sample of 1,500 respondents. Your actual savings could be a lot higher depending on your type of insurance and the insurance company you're with.
So is there
In short, it doesn't really pay for you to be loyal to your insurance company. Sorry, go ahead.
is there a repository that I can go to and type in my information, the car that I have, my driving record, et cetera, my age, all that sort of thing, that I can say, okay, I want to compare on one sheet of paper the cost of insurance for Allstate, AAA, Progressive, Geico, State Farm. Is there such a thing?
Well, yeah, I mean, valleypenguin.com is one such website. I can think of a few others. QuoteWizard.com is another website that offers this service. The Zebra, Insurify. There are a lot of online comparison websites that you can visit to get all of this information all in one place. But of course, they may not ask you for a lot of information, but they'll ask you for car model, your full name, date of birth, and potentially a phone number so that insurance companies can get in touch with you. It can be a little much, but it's helpful. If you don't want to go down that route, if you feel uncomfortable putting your personal information into a website, you can always try to get in touch with a local independent insurance agent. So they're not affiliated with one company, but they sell for multiple companies. Give them a call and ask them, hey, this is my name. I want to get insurance for my car. What are some of the best rates out there? And actually, independent agents have a slight edge over some of the websites. They'll also pull from smaller local insurance companies that may offer better deals than some of the big ones. So it's always good to do your research before you sign on the renewal and send it back.
Do I have to worry about getting ripped off by some fly-by-night insurance company, or is there some sort of regulatory agency that it can assure me that I'm not going to, write a check every month for $150 for car insurance, and then when it comes time for me to file a claim, there's no money in the pot?
So it's very small insurance companies that you've never heard of. That's always a risk. And I feel like some of those companies target people in communities where there isn't a lot of education around insurance. So that's a good point you brought up. Before you sign the dotted line on any insurance plan, go look up the Better Business Bureau or call up your state insurance regulatory office. Every state has an insurance regulator, and you can call them up and ask them about this company that you're going to sign up.
Interesting.
Are they legit? Are there complaints against them?
So-
A lot of times complaints are submitted against insurance companies that you can view. The other place you can check them out is the National Association of Insurance Commissioners. They even publish a report every year on complaints submitted against insurance companies. So that's something you can check as well.
Well, in the car business, I talk to a lot of body shop managers, body shop owners, and I look at them as a real good resource as to what insurance companies do the right thing in repairing your vehicle. Some of them are, they're always looking to cut corners with the shops. They pay a fixed fee to the shop for the labor, which is less than what their posted door rate is. All that's
Right.
kind of negotiated at some level. Some of them want them to use non-OEM parts. All of that, I assume, is at the insurance company's discretion and probably part of the document that you sign when
your premium.
when you sign
Yeah.
up for the premium. Is that they may be using non-OEM parts to repair your vehicle.
And not
They
only
may
that-
have only certain shops that you're allowed to take your vehicle to get the repair done.
And what's the length of a loaner car? Is it 2 days, 3 days, a week?
And what's the price of the loaner?
Exactly.
The rental
The
car.
reimbursement.
So
So all
It's really
factor-
interesting.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I said it's really interesting you brought up the loaner car thing, because one of my neighbors ran into that problem with their insurance company. So their car was in the shop for about 3 weeks, but their insurance policy only allowed a certain amount of money for a loaner car. I think it was less than $1,000. And we live in Jersey. It's expensive to rent cars in my state. So their insurance only covered their loaner car for less than a week, which means for the remaining 2 weeks, they were out of pocket. And
it's expensive to do anything in New Jersey.
Mike,
but I believe
Mike knows
that
this
the
because
rising
Conrad knows this because he's originally from New York. So
We
there
look
you
so
go.
much alike.
Yeah, I'm a Westchester County, New York guy. So,
the Westchester County is definitely
but
nicer place than
it's not
New
cheap
Jersey, where
either.
I'm in.
Yeah. Divya, we're out of time. Thank you so much for joining us. It's valuepenguin.com, correct?
Yes, and ValuePayment.com is a subsidiary of LendingTree.
Very nice.
Interesting.
Well, it's a pleasure to talk to you. Let's stay in touch. If you got any other news that you'd like to share, please give us a holler.
Thank you very much.
I will. All right. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
The same. Thank
Thank you.
That was good.
Good information.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it most definitely was. Hey, I'd like to remind everybody that if you'd like to get in touch with us here, you can always shoot us an email. Our address is info@inwheeltime.com. And we appreciate you joining us today. Time now for the In Wheel Time racing calendar. And racing has started, I guess, down in Florida.
Well, last weekend was the 24 Hours of Daytona.
I watched it.
And the Acras went 1-2 in the new DPI hybrid. and then Cadillac went
3, 4, 5. But they were 1 and 2 until circumstances.
I think they made some bad
calls in the paddock,
in the pits.
yeah.
And then Corvette finished number 2 in GTD Pro. So that was good to see Corvette back because Corvette stunk it up last year.
Yeah, they did. Well, drivers have a lot to do with that.
And new
kind
car.
Kind of the same driver team this year that there was last year. But yeah, the C8 was all new for them. And you got to remember at IMSA there's something called BOP, balance of power. So they start adding weight and putting restrictors on the intake and changing the amount of onboard fuel so that you have to either pit more often or less often. So they start playing around with
Depending
that,
how they map it.
trying to balance the vehicle's performance out.
Yeah, and make the race interesting.
Right.
I got it.
So tomorrow night is Clash at the Coliseum. So it's inside the LA Coliseum. They put an asphalt, basically a quarter-mile asphalt track.
Wonder what the weather's supposed to be out there tomorrow night, because it's been raining in Southern California, which is unusual.
It never rains in Southern California.
So
There's a song about that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, but I think they're hoping it's nice and dry because they spent a lot of money asphalting that.
Yeah.
And then Daytona duels are the 16th of February, and then the Daytona 500 is the 19th of February. So generally that is the week after the Super Bowl. So the Super Bowl is the 14th.
One of these days I want to go to the
Or
Daytona
the 12th,
500.
excuse me. And that's a bucket list thing to go to for me as well as the Daytona 500.
Yeah.
Almost went one year when I worked with General Motors and got screwed on a contest.
Well, I will tell you that I've actually been to the Daytona Speedway.
Yep.
Because, my daughter went down there to Embry-Riddle University, which is just on the other side of the airport there, and got a chance to go over there and take a tour, and it was really
Go to the
cool.
museum?
Went to, all that. It was neat.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. It's a very interesting place because, obviously it's not too far from the beach and everything is just pancake flat down there.
Mm-hmm.
So unlike any other racetrack that I've been to. All right, Mr. Zekin over here has got some bad news.
Well, not bad news, just a little disappointing news. You watch Motor Trend TV and you've got all these reruns of these car shows. When are they going to put a new one out? You get television shows like Bitchin' Rides comes on and they run 4 episodes and then they go into reruns from 2018.
Yeah.
Oh,
Why?
that kind of rerun. I thought it was rerun from the TV show. The guy, Mars was doing his dancing here before doing the rerun.
No, his medication was kicking in. That's why he was doing it.
Yeah,
That or not
he
kicking
wish
in.
it. I was just
So,
going to say he wish it would kick
I
in.
figured I'd do some research on, we used to be Velocity, but Motor Trend TV was actually called Discovery HD Theater back in 2002, which was the first 24/7 Motor Trend type show. From there, it went into producing shows like American Chopper. Remember those guys?
Yep.
Yeah.
Animal Planet was on there as well. Corwin's Quest was part of their shows that they produced. So from there, it went into Velocity in 2011, no longer the HD theater type thing. And then in 2011, later on in that year, they went to Velocity, strictly Velocity, not HD Velocity.
So that was all automotive.
All automotive, getting into that. And then later on, they went Velocity. Motor Trend, so there's a lot of name changes and a lot of things that they're doing that evidently made them successful. But today's market, I'm not really happy with it. So as Motor Trend, they branded that, and it's called TEN, which was
10.
named 10, but it was announced it was the Entertainment Network, sort of like an ESPN thing.
Yeah.
So they went into that for international. They went into Canada. But here's my problem. You've got a total of 97 shows, and I've got 31 of them here. 97 shows, and 96 of them are in rerun. There's a few of them that aren't. So when I'm watching Motor Trend to get maybe some education or to have fun looking at a show that you want about building, they're there. You can look them up, and it's just
It's all about making money.
yeah.
And the bottom line is that the production costs are extremely expensive with these semi-reality shows. It takes months to produce one show. because what we see is a very condensed version.
A 1 hour show of a car build that took 6-7 months to do.
14 months in some respects. And if you watch some of these shows, they'll be working on this particular vehicle, but in the background, there's a vehicle that they built and finished 2 weeks ago on that show. And I understand the filming and I understand the production part of it. It's got to be take and retake and take and retake. I get it. But don't fool me.
Well, the other thing is, and I think that perfect example of the frustration of these guys that own these shops is Phantom Works. Dan,
Good
up there,
point.
that
He's
said,
just starting a new show.
He said,
Is he?
"You guys get out.
Yeah.
I can't do this anymore. You're killing me here. I can't make any money because there's a lot of time spent that he has to sit down and they feed him words to say. The producer, the on-site producer, has to feed him words to say to stitch this show together to make it all make sense. And it takes a lot of time. It's all just not a reality off the cuff kind of stuff. You see some of those segments, but for the most part, to bring a car full circle into a television show, redo or repair or whatever it is that they're talking about, all of that takes time. And if they usually have 2 or 3 guys shooting the video, and you rarely see them in the shot. Sometimes you do, and it's only because they have to use that shot.
Right. And
So there's so many components to getting that on tape. It's very difficult to do and very expensive. And to have a series that goes for 12 shows, think of how long that took to get the 12 shows, and a lot of money.
And there's some of these that, there's shows that have only run 4 episodes and they're off the air.
Yep.
Some have run 30 plus episodes and they're in reruns now and so on for their season, because a season's not a year. A season could be 6 weeks.
Correct.
A season could be 8 weeks, depending on the production.
Yep.
But there is a show, Full Custom Garage. Ian Rousseau, he's got some fresh new stuff on there, which is very, very cool.
Well, I think they're now doing Texas Metal is new, and we've
Texas
had Bill.
Metal is new, yep.
We've had Bill Carlton on the show,
Absolutely.
and he talked about exactly what Don was talking about just a few minutes ago. What a pain it is to do business when they are filming there, and,
Right.
and he says, it's quite interfering with their ability to just do business because the film crew has to take priority. And they're in the way while they're doing all this other stuff.
And do they get paid a lot for it? And there's a show called Shorty's Paint or something that derived from another show.
Yeah.
Not a fan either, because it's all about Shorty. So listen up there, Motor Trend.
We talked to a couple of times Jamie Torres out in New Mexico with Dominic Customs. He kind of got into that Tackle My Ride. It's kind of like a Pimp My Ride, but it was NFL players involved in it.
Right.
And it was him and his 2 sons in this small town in New Mexico, and they basically did the same thing. They lost all their regular business because they were so involved in that.
And they lose employees.
Had to give it up.
They lose good people, too.
Well, it was him and his sons, and that's really what was killing them.
Well,
They didn't.
in some of the bigger productions, you'll see what happened to that guy that was doing a certain function. He's not there anymore because he quit.
I want to remind everybody that the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show is available 24/7 through the iHeartRadio app. Just look for In Wheel Time Car Talk. We also video stream on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, InWheelTime.com, and podcasts are at your fingertips on over a dozen of the most popular podcast outlets out there. The In Wheel Time Car Talk Show continues right after this quick break.
Tailpipes and Tacos, Houston's premier car cruise-in returns Saturday, April 15th to the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy, 8 to 11 a.m. Bring your Hot Rod, Classic, Resto-Mod, or any other vehicle you'd like to show and compete for one of 3 highly coveted Chili Pepper trophies. This April 15th kickoff event is one you'll want to put on your calendar because 100% of the money you donate for the free tacos will be given to God's Garage. You heard right, free tacos. Whatever you decide to give, all of it will be given to God's Garage and matched by Lupi Tortilla. God's Garage gifts vehicles to single mothers, widows, and wives of deployed military in the greater Houston area. In fact, the garage will gift a vehicle to a mom in need at this special event. Be sure to attend the next Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise-In, Saturday, April 15th, 8 to 11 a.m. at the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10. Free breakfast tacos for any donation to God's Garage. It'll make your heart and your belly feel good.
It's the world's most popular in-wheel time car talk show.
Yes.
Just ahead, We talk about the Ford F-150 Lightning with the man from Ford himself. Conrad will have the In-Wheel Time Car Clinic, and we'll have this week's automotive news headlines. Howdy. Along with Mike Out of This World Mars, King Conrad DeLong. We need more Jeff Zekin. I'm Don Armstrong. Glad you could join us today. And speaking of joining us right now, joining us from the Ford Motor Company is Jason Turnbull. Jason, it's great to talk to you. Thanks so much for getting up on a cold Michigan morning. I assume you're in Michigan, are you?
No problem. Yep, I am located right in Detroit, Michigan. So thanks for having me.
Well, you got another Detroiter sitting on the dais here by the name of Jeffrey Zekin. Where are you from?
Detroit.
Detroit, where?
Well, actually, Dearborn Heights. Yeah. Right down from the old glass building, Ford Glass.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Ann Arbor Trail, all that.
Yeah. So, Jason, gosh, you don't have anything to talk about, do you? Oh, that's the end of our conversation. We'll talk to you later.
Yeah.
The Ford F-150 Lightning. And I have to tell you, I had one not too long ago, and I was truly impressed. And I think that most of the media that I have talked to, they're just as impressed as I am. And I know that it was a long time in development, and boy, you just can't make enough of them. You got about another 10 more factories being built right now just to produce these things?
Yeah, right now we launched last May, and since then our goal is obviously to produce as many as possible to get to our customers. And what we've announced is we're ramping up to 150,000 units, basically run rate per year by this fall. So our goal, we're laser focused on just building up the production capacity to get as many as out here as possible.
How are you doing so far? I mean, obviously dealers are chomping at the bit as well as potential buyers. Are you able to fulfill all the orders that you have?
Yeah. So right now, or in May of 2021, so about well over 18 months ago, we revealed the Lightning. At that time, we took reservations. We actually had to shut off reservations at about 200,000.
Wow!
Because we knew that we couldn't fulfill them in time. So right now, we're still working through the backlog of all those reservation holders to get them their trucks. So we had to tape down like demand, and it's a very unique situation.
Well, lucky you.
So what are the production restrictions? What componentry is kind of restricting the build volume?
Yeah, so we benefit. So our core strategy was to lower costs as well as get economy of scale, is to share as many parts with the F-150 basically ICE lineup. But there is unique BEV parts. So we have the dual motors, we have the battery. Obviously, it's different fenders, but the key kind of capacity constraint is getting that battery production and then also ramping up a brand new facility. So those are the two things that the manufacturer team is focused on, and really that battery capacity is that one thing of as many batteries we can get is that's how many vehicles will be on the road right now.
Well, I assume that the factory's working 24/7.
Yeah, we actually announced a couple months ago we're on our third shift. So yeah, it's basically 24/7, minus some holidays and some weekends, but it's almost going as fast as possible right now.
Right.
And really, it's not the labor at the plant right now, it's that battery capacity as well as other kind of key commodities that we need to get into the plant.
Is it being built at Rouge River?
Yeah, so what we call a Rouge Electric Vehicle Center, it's on site at the Rouge. It's
right
next door to the Deere Run truck plant. And while we share some componentry, it's final assembled in its own building right next door.
Gotcha. Yeah. Is it on the property where the glass factory used to be?
So I'm not sure exactly where the glass factory was, but it's right in the Rouge Basic Complex, right off 94.
He's not as old as you are.
Yeah, he's pretty young.
He's not as old as I. Well, not that I'm some expert, but I did get.
But you're old.
I am old. There's no doubt about that. But I did get a tour of the Rouge plant several years ago, and part of that with the media was how the plant was originally laid out. and there was steel manufacturing, and then there was the glass plant, and these certain areas that actually at the time built the components for whatever it was that they were building in the factory. And that factory was torn down, and this new Rouge River facility was built. And oh my gosh, I don't know how old it is now, but I'll tell you what, it's the latest state of the art at the time that I took the tour, and it was impressive.
Now,
and right now, if you walk into the electric vehicle center, it's night or day, even versus the truck plant, which is a very modern plant, because you're used to all those sounds and those basically lines where it's almost all electric powered, and really there's no lines. There's those autonomous kind of pallets that kind of basically transport the vehicle per station. So it's a very state of the art plant, but it's almost eerie a little because it's so efficient, and basically so quiet that you don't realize that we're, pumping out the lightning, basically 30 an hour.
Yeah. It used to be the noise from the line itself was deafening.
Yeah.
I remember those days.
Well, one of the things that I remember going through the actual ICE assembly plant of the F-150 there on the property was the only thing that was really automated per se on the assembly line was the installation of the windshield. And they made a big deal out of that, and why it was automated like it was.
It's because that Model T windshield fits so
It's not the Model T windshield. Yeah, no, it's not. All right, so let's talk about the F-150 Lightning itself. You said dual motors. Do all of them have dual motors?
Yep, so we're 100% dual motor. It's 100% crew cab, that 4-door, and basically standard bed to the 5.5. And there's key reasons for that. One is over 80% of the current under 8,500 market is that 4-door kind of standard bed, because it's now just not a work truck. You go on road trips, you're hauling your family. And then at the same time is we made a very conscious decision to basically have identical beds with our ICE counterparts. And the reason why is, we have, when you look at tonneau covers or bed liners or accessories, we're really not forcing our customers to buy all new accessories just because they're going electric.
Oh, I get it. Sure,
yeah.
That makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah, because there's nobody that you'd have to gear up a whole aftermarket especially for that.
Right.
So that makes perfectly good sense.
Plus the simplicity of production. If everybody's kind of building the same thing, it's a little bit easier for the
the bed on the ICE truck is the same as the Lightning. Mm-hmm. I got it.
Yep.
Yeah. Interesting. And how far on average will the truck go on a single charge?
Yeah, our extended range is 320 miles. So that's our label. And then more for a commercial kind of customer is we have a standard range battery that is 240 miles. So we have two batteries, a 240 and then a 320 mile range.
And can a customer who buys F-150 Lightning, can they buy a upgraded charging system to be installed in their house as well?
Yeah, so this is one of the big things is when we were developing the product, we realized that a lot of these new Lightning owners will be first EVs in the household.
Yep.
So we really wanted to kind of handhold them to make sure that one, that the truck is capable, but two, getting the right wall box. So for every extended range Lightning, you get an 80 amp wall box with the vehicle. So you can obviously downrate that to 30 amp or 48 amp, or to maximize the 80 amp, it's a 100 amp line. And then separately with Ford accessories is we offer a 30 amp kind of cord, a 48 amp, and then also, like I mentioned, that 80 amp. So we have different kind of wall boxes depending on kind of what your needs are.
And the higher the amperage, the faster the charge rate.
Right.
Yeah, because truck customers said, hey, I want to charge under 8 hours every night. And then we have a giant battery. And then we explained to them, hey, you're not really going to go from 0 to 100 every night. You're going to roll in with 30 or 40. And then they go, I don't care. Worst case scenario, I want to be able to charge under 8 hours. So we did two things. One is we actually put an additional onboard basic charger to basically suck in the on the Lightning. So we have peak level 2 charging of 19.2 kilowatts, and with that 80 amp with a 100 amp line, that's where you get that under 8 hours. Because we have a 131 kilowatt basically battery, which is a very large battery.
I didn't write that down.
I didn't write that
You
down.
lost me at 80 amp.
Yeah. And obviously those chargers, those wall chargers, need to be installed by a professional
Yes.
electrician.
Yes, yeah. So anything hardwired, obviously, we recommend it has to be up to code as well as with a certified electrician.
Yeah. So let's talk about trim levels. Are there different trim levels with the Lightning?
Yeah, so our goal for Lightning is to electrify the masses. So what that means is we have different price points, depending on, what you want from feature-wise and performance-wise. So we have 4 trim levels. We have a Pro. So think of that as more of our traditional XL, so more of that commercial customer
Yep.
kind of offering as vinyl seats. It has hard kind of surfaces, so you can clean it in and out. Then we move up to XLT, and then Lariat, and then our fully loaded is our Platinum. So our price range is from about $50,000 all the way up to that loaded to about $95,000.
And what percentage of each of those are you currently have in your order
so
bank?
right now, from a commercial versus retail, we have about 20% of our kind of allocation going towards that commercial customer. And then when you look at like that Pro, that closely aligns with that 20% of how many Pros that we sell for commercial customers.
Yeah.
Right now we are selling a lot of Platinums and Lariats just because we're very constrained and we have a lot of demand. So we want to get those. We want to get those kind of really rich featured vehicles out there. But what we see longer term when we ramp up volume is around that $70,000 kind of that loaded XLT is kind of going to be that sweet spot of where a lot of people are going to want to buy their vehicles.
Yeah, we just completed the Automotive show here last weekend in Houston, and Ford did have a very nice complement of obviously all the vehicles, but also the EVs that they produce. So there was quite a few out there, and they're interesting and pretty sharp-looking vehicles.
Yeah, and then one thing that we're really looking at is so we've been working with the government, and really it was announced yesterday with the final classification for the new tax credit, which is that 80K MSRP cap when it's classified as a truck. So while there's also household income kind of basically limits, we really want to obviously make sure our bread and butter volume units are under that 80K cap, so our customers can qualify for that $7,500 tax credit. And I'm going forward.
Yeah, Buzz is going to join us in a little while to talk about some of those changes he just mentioned. It's a pretty big deal.
It's a very big deal, but it's also complicated.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's the government. Everything's complicated. with the
Absolutely.
government.
Easy.
Yeah. And they can't shoot down a damn balloon. That's another story for another day.
Because it's complicated.
Sorry, that's our next show. Our balloon show follows this
You
one.
put gun
So
turrets
what
in
is the evolution of the F-150 Lightning, let's say, platform? You may or may not be able to talk about this. When is the plan to put that system into a transit?
So we actually have the e-Transit that launched last year. So a commercial customer can buy a fully electric e-Transit. Right now, it's really targeted toward that commercial customer. So the range is only about 118 miles. So from that retail customer's perspective, we're working through a bigger battery, but that is in the market right now, and that's a key kind of vehicle for those, very specific usages, short range, kind of daily, kind of you drive 80 miles a day. Vans that we offer today.
Flower delivery.
Yes.
Yeah, got it. Jason, it's great to talk to you. I guess Ford.com, does the Lightning have a special website?
If you go to Ford.com and then you'll see FMV Lightning, and then that's our vehicle homepage, and you can you can see all the cool features. You can build your own. You basically spec it out. So yeah, so go on Ford.com.
Are you planning on going outside today?
Yeah.
I'll be driving outside. I don't know if I'll be outside for very long. I know it's been very cold.
You got your little radiant heater there over your right shoulder.
I do. Yeah, I live in Detroit.
Got that
so
fired
I have
up.
Old school kind of heater system.
There you go.
That's okay. Well, hey, man, it's great to talk to you. Thanks so much for taking the time out of your Saturday morning to talk to us. We appreciate it. Let's stay in touch.
Love the truck.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Thank you.
You bet.
Jason Turnbull, the Ford F-150 Lightning marketing manager.
All of these young kids getting smarter and smarter every day.
Well, because we're getting older and not as smart.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, there's that. Hey, we'd love to hear from you. Shoot us an email if you wish. info@inwheeltime.com. You want to say nasty things about Mike, me, whoever,
Not me.
be sure and put, no, nobody says anything.
Why does he keep
ugly.
looking at you when he says Mike?
He's ignoring you.
I know.
Look,
Welcome to our world.
this is our world. Yeah, exactly. All right. Why don't we take a look at Conrad's Car Clinic? Because I've got some news that's going to be a little bit more lengthy this morning. Conrad's Car Clinic. What's in the car clinic this morning, sir?
Cars. It's good.
Well, it's time to unwinterize your vehicle. to a
What?
degree. Well, getting ready to, down here in Texas, we're going to unwinterize our vehicle. Up there in Detroit, they're going to be in winter until
They're going to dig it out of that snowdrift.
June.
Yeah, exactly.
Which snowdrift did I leave my car under?
But, it's time as you come out of the winter time to get your car ready for the spring, let's say. And it's always good after the winter months to have a thorough check done underneath the vehicle. Winter can be extremely harsh on your vehicle's major systems, so having them inspected each spring is a wise thing to do. So you want to have your car inspected by a licensed mechanic or a trained technician, not just a tire shop or the quick lube dude. The
The way he said that.
You
Quick
know,
lube doob.
let me just say this about the quick lube dude. I have many thoughts when it comes to that, and most of them aren't good that I can repeat on the radio. So,
well, they're generally first-time automotive employees that are minimally trained to change your oil, to hopefully get your car on and off the lift or brought over the pit correctly. The guy down in the pit maybe has a little bit more experience than
They're
the guy
learning
on
the
top of
business
it.
too.
Yeah, they're just new in the business and learning the steps it takes to do things. So having
the
them,
lube dude.
You were a lube dude.
The lube
You were a
dude.
lube
I
dude
was a
back in
lube
the
dude,
80s.
yeah.
I was never a lube dude.
No, me either.
I was.
You're a lube dudette.
That I was.
no, he was the buffing pinstriper.
Yeah, I buffed the stripes right off of it. Is what I
What you're
did.
buffing is going to end up with pinstripes.
So my opinion, if you're going to bring your vehicle in to get a good inspection done on it, most shops, when you go in for your oil change, are going to do a 27, 31, 50, whatever number they
Right.
want to use, point inspection of your vehicle. And that's good because that gets somebody looking at things that you can't see on your own vehicle. So if they get under the vehicle, they can see the suspension components, they can see the lines, they can see the wiring and stuff to see if there's any damage that needs to be addressed immediately. But let's say like Don's driveway right now, there's some pretty high-tech iron sitting out there in the driveway. And I've always wondered, what do your neighbors think? Are you like a pimp or a drug dealer?
Both.
Because right now you have a Jaguar and a V-Series Cadillac Escalade in the driveway
And a Corvette behind the
and
gate.
a Corvette behind the gate. You want to make sure whoever's doing your inspection understands your brand. So like my daughter with the Audi, I want her inspected by an Audi dealership because the Audi technician, they understand the common points of failure of the Audi product. They understand where that drain plug drains all of the transmission fluid out, and that drain plug drains all of the engine oil out, and they won't mix the two up, where the lube dude does. And I've had that call.
Really?
Yes, I've had that call. Hey, do you carry any of the DCT transmission fluid? Because
Lube dude.
the lube dude just drained all the transmission fluid out, not the engine oil. It's like,
Was his name Mars?
I did the flat tires. I ran the tire machine.
no, but it was,
Lord.
but it was over in his area.
You were right next to his
next
booth.
stall.
Yeah.
You could have been that, yes. But it wasn't in the tire stall, I'm telling you.
And that's why they developed the toothbrush in Beaumont, because it wasn't teeth brush. It was just a tooth.
toothbrush.
You had to think about that one.
Oh my! I was thinking, wait a minute, did they actually develop the toothbrush over there in Beaumont?
So bringing it to a licensed mechanic that understands your brand, especially if you have a unique branded vehicle, I think is extremely important. There are some independent shops that are wide branded. They know what they're looking at as they look at a various, they understand the European, the Asian, the domestic vehicles. But having somebody, like the Jaguar or Rochelle's Audi or Angela's Mercedes, you want somebody who knows what they're looking at when they're looking at that, because all vehicles, doesn't matter whose
Colony
they are.
One Repair has no clue what they're looking at. Might as well bet a garbage
They've got
truck.
they're hiring technicians. I hear.
I'm sure they are. Yeah.
But that all brands of vehicles have common failures. So having a technician that understands what are the common failures of those vehicles and how to look at it, I think that's important. The lube dude might not. They understand how to rotate the tires. And
That's the
hopefully
word of the day.
drain the correct oil.
Lube dude.
Where suddenly you need all of a sudden you need some brake work or more intensive work done on your vehicle, that quick lube shop probably isn't the place you want to go to. There you do definitely want to bring it to a brand specific location. So choosing the right place to get your vehicle inspected is important, and getting that inspection done consistently is just as important.
Right.
Well,
Cool.
I agree. And I was fortunate when I had the alignment done on the Corvette down there at Collision. What is that place that you turned me on to?
Caliber Collision.
Caliber Collision.
Not Caliber Collision, Caliber Auto Repair.
Yeah. That the guy was a Corvette guy that used to work on Corvettes at a Chevrolet dealership, like the other guy that you turned me on to.
James
James.
Bragg.
Yeah.
That was with the AC. That was the rodent
Yeah, that was
episode.
the AC.
Right. And that guy down there, he said, "Oh, yeah, I know everything about these cars," which was comforting to know.
Mhm.
Put it up on the lift and,
Well, one of the best things I love about that is and that was why I sent you there. That is a flat alignment machine.
correct.
Corvette's pretty low to the ground, so if you've got to go up a ramp to get onto the alignment machine, going up the ramp's easy. It's as you move the front tires forward and the rear tires don't go up the ramp at the right time, you can scrape the bottom of the car. So having a what I call a flat floor alignment machine is very
Yeah,
important.
it was
Cool.
a good experience. Honda Motor Company on Friday, yesterday, issued a do not drive warning
Uh-oh.
for 8,200 2001 to 2003 model year Acura and Hondas with unrepaired Takata airbag inflators in the U.S.
Again?
Again, the
Unrepaired.
NHTSA said owners of those vehicles should not drive them until they get repairs, warning the risk to vehicle occupants is dire. The urgent warning covers various 01 to 03 model year Accords, Civics, CRVs, Odyssey, Pilots, and Acura 3.2 CL and 3.2 TL vehicles with so-called alpha inflators. And I tell you this because you may know somebody that owns one of these vehicles. And, it's always a good thing to occasionally put your VIN number in safercar.gov and see if there are any recalls on your particular make and model. And this is one of those that it's only 8,200, but there have been a lot of deaths.
Mhm.
Think of this. This airbag goes off while you're driving it. It could kill you.
Yeah.
And it has killed.
It has.
It has killed, more than 30 deaths worldwide, including at least 23 U.S. fatalities.
Wow.
That they figured out that was the cause. How many others that they didn't actually realize that was the final cause of death in somebody?
Well, and the issue with it is the corrosion that happens when the bag deploys, the shrapnel that comes out of the inflator module, that's what's killing people. The bag itself isn't what's killing people. The bag
Right.
saves lives, but it's the breakage of the metal
shrapnel.
components around it is what are killing people.
As a matter of fact, in November, Chrysler parent Stellantis urged owners of 276,000 older U.S. vehicles to immediately stop driving after 3 crash deaths tied to faulty Takata airbag inflators were reported. So keep that in mind. It's just a big nightmare.
Safercars.gov.
Safercar.gov, yeah. Unexpected engine shutdown from an electrical short is a recall for Chrysler's Pacifica from 2017 through 2023. Got a couple of others.
Those are
here.
vans, right? Pacifica's
Ford
a van.
Bronco Sport for 2023. Isn't that what? No, you're not driving the Sport, are
No,
you?
No, the Raptor.
Well, this has a leak in the ABS module.
Uh-oh.
Rear
You don't use brakes anyways.
It's only the brakes.
Yeah.
Rear view camera image may not display on the Ford Explorer, Lincoln Aviator, and Lincoln Corsair for 2020 through 2023
I like the
models.
Corsair. Corsair's nice.
Kia Sorento PHEV for 2022, improperly molded fuel tank may leak. That's not good. Improperly molded fuel tank may leak also, and the Hyundai Santa Fe plug-in hybrid for 2022.
Well, it just goes to show they share parts between Kia and
Yeah.
Hyundai.
Yeah.
And they do.
And many manufacturers.
They are sister.
that
They
way.
are sister brands.
Yeah, exactly. So those are some of the recalls. We've got more stuff
It's
coming.
recalled. You just can't get it insured.
That's right.
Yeah, well, we forgot to ask her.
I purposely didn't because I didn't know where she would be on her knowledge of how that worked.
Yeah, no need to put her on the spot.
Right.
Um,
Speaking of putting somebody on the spot,
I'm not on the spot. I don't think.
I was just
good.
thinking of who's up next.
No, who's on
We got a
first?
top of the hour coming up.
What?
Yeah.
Second
Who's
base.
on first? Second base?
I don't know. Third base.
What a great bit.
And who are the catcher? Who was the catcher and the pitcher?
Who?
Yesterday and tomorrow.
Only you would remember
I
all
know.
these things.
I wasn't going to encourage him.
Toyota sold 10.5 million vehicles in 2022, defending its title as the world's top-selling automaker for the third straight year. Second-ranked rival Volkswagen earlier this month reported its lowest sales in over a decade of 8.3 million vehicles as COVID-19 lockdowns in China and the war in Ukraine upended supply chains for Volkswagen. And a lot of their vehicles are made over in that part of the world.
Yeah, buy a Volkswagen, get a balloon.
Yeah.
Get it delivered by balloon.
Carvana.
Here we go. Oh,
You notice it didn't. You notice it didn't fly over Texas because every redneck hunter would have been out there.
Once it
taking
flies
shots at it.
70,000 feet. Let's see if we can hit that.
Yeah.
Oh, my beer.
Yeah.
Quick break
Get
now.
my goose gun out.
Quick break now. We are on the In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show. Stay with us.
Tailpipes and Tacos, Houston's premier car cruise-in returns Saturday, April 15th to the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy, 8 to 11 a.m. Bring your Hot Rod Classic, Resto Mod, or any other vehicle you'd like to show and compete for one of 3 highly coveted Chili Pepper trophies. This April 15th kickoff event is one you'll want to put on your calendar because 100% of the money you donate for the free tacos will be given to God's Garage. You heard right. Free tacos. Whatever you decide to give, all of it will be given to God's Garage and matched by Lupi Tortilla. God's Garage gifts vehicles to single mothers, widows, and wives of deployed military in the greater Houston area. In fact, the garage will gift a vehicle to a mom in need at this special event. Be sure to attend the next Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise-In, Saturday, April 15th, 8 to 11 a.m. at the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10. Free breakfast tacos for any donation to God's Garage. It'll make your heart and your belly feel good. The award-winning In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show is available on the most popular podcast channels out there in 30-minute episodes. We realize our 3-hour live show can be difficult to catch in its entirety, so now you can listen every day to a convenient, fresh 30-minute episode. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Audible, along with a dozen more. In-Wheel Time has the most informative automotive guest interviews and new car reviews, along with popular features including Conrad's Car Clinic and This Week in Auto History, along with automotive news headlines. Our live broadcast airs every Saturday, 8 to 11 Central on InWheelTime.com, the iHeart app, and on YouTube. Be sure to say hello when we're broadcasting from the Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise-In, Autorama, and the Houston Auto Show, among others. Now, it's easier than ever to hear about all things automotive all week long. You're invited to join fellow car enthusiasts in becoming part of the ever-growing In-Wheel Time Car Talk family. Don't forget those 30-minute podcast episodes on your favorite podcast channel. You own a car you love. Well, why not let Gulf Coast Auto Shield protect it? Houstonian John Gray invites you to his state-of-the-art facility to introduce you to his specialist team of auto enthusiasts. We promise you'll be impressed. Whether you're looking to massage your original paint to a like-new appearance, apply a ceramic coating, install a paint protection film, nano-ceramic window tint, or new windshield protection called ExoShield, Gulf Coast Auto Shield is where Houston's car people go. Curbed your wheels? Instead of buying new, why not have them repaired? How about a professionally installed radar detector? Gulf Coast Auto Shield does that too. Get a peek inside the shop and look at the services offered by getting online and heading to gcautoshield.com. Better yet, stop by their facility at 11275 South Sam Houston Tollway, just south of the Southwest Freeway, and get a personal tour. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is your place to go for all things exterior. Call them today, 832-930-5655 or gcautoshield.com.
It's the End Wheel Time Car Talk Show coming up. New driving laws, regulations, words of encouragement from the Right Reverend and Sergeant Stephen Woodard from your Texas Department of Public Safety.
Awesome.
Mars reviews the Ram T-Rex or TRX. He hasn't wrecked it that I know of. So we'll do the on-ramp acceleration test with him.
Sure.
After we talk to Sergeant Woodard.
With the Neaterville Terror, Mike Mars.
The Neaterville Terror?
Plus,
Funny.
Todd.
Oh, Godin.
Godan. Todd
Yeah.
Godan of the Falcon Club is going to join us. We'll also have the events calendar and the stories making automotive news headlines. Howdy, along with Mike Out of This World Mars, King Conrad DeLong, and we need more, Jeff Zekin. I'm Don Armstrong. Glad you could join us on this Saturday. And joining us right now is our favorite cop. He is, ladies and gentlemen, Sergeant Stephen Woodard with the Department of Public Safety, also known as Trooper.
Super
Trooper, Stephen Woodard.
Hey, we got Jeff in the house, King's in the house. Mars, look, brother, I don't care what Don says about you. I love you, man.
Thank you. I'm glad somebody does.
I know, but before we get, look, I got all dressed up for you today too, Don.
I like it.
Before we get into it, do you know I love you? Right off the top, brother Mars, you know I care about you, man. Don't take that stuff, man.
You haven't seen his record.
Yeah, I'm betting he has.
Hey, you know what's funny? I heard the last time I heard Brother Don, because we called him the silk voice in the sky. And he was out on the deal with this nutto. This fool burns down his wife's house or whatever. And we're hearing Don call the whole deal. Don, what was that like?
Dude, that was the most bizarre thing I have ever been on in my entire life. The guy tried.
I think the thing is, it took so long to get him out, and while all of this is going, you're basically, moderating or commentating the burning of the structure. I mean, this house was pretty much destroyed, fellas.
Yeah.
Don's your spotter.
And they weren't really too sure if he was even still in there until he set the place on fire, because they sent in robots. I guess that they finally ultimately found him with the robot in the house, and then he went and hid again in some little area up above the garage, because once they punched a hole in the front of his house, there he was like a rat up in there. And because the smoke was filling up the entire house and fire was right behind him. So they punched a hole in, and then it was like, okay, how are we going to get him down? So he had to crawl down.
Burn him out.
But you were like 2 miles away or a mile away, weren't you?
Oh,
You were
yeah.
like right up to it.
No. We had to stay a mile away and 1,000 feet. So, if they tried to talk to this guy. This guy was nuts. What in the world? It's truly amazing to me what you guys get yourselves into with nut jobs like this. I mean, it's truly amazing.
I'm going to tell you something right now, Doug. So first of all, I wasn't too much worried about him. I was worried about the homes next to the city.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And I'm thinking, dear God, please don't let these folks, get caught up in this burning. But at any rate, let's talk about that robot real quick. I got a lot to get to today.
Yeah.
So there are two different types of robots. And those, let me tell you something, those machines are so sophisticated, and the operators that, control them. So you have one that's on kind of this conveyor belt type of wheel system.
Yep.
And if I'm not mistaken, that's the actual apparatus that helped us capture or kill the individual that killed those Dallas police officers during a gun rally. But they also have one that kind of walks around on like these little, it looks like a little dog, man. And it'll go in and it'll just take care of business. I mean, you can't hurt it. The camera system on board is just phenomenal. And it allows us as law enforcement to go into a structure and basically take a look, talk, traverse. You could actually bring an individual something. Like if you have someone saying, hey, I want to talk to my mother, but I don't have a cell phone. Well, the robot has, of course, the equipment to bring that individual whatever, he or she's requesting. So pretty cool stuff. I want to ask you guys something. Are you guys seeing this fentanyl, basically this fentanyl epidemic that we're going through right now?
Dude, I saw a thing
all
on the
over.
news, I guess it was last night or night before last, where they busted some people that were smuggling across the border dope, and it was all packaged. There was pills, all these blue pills and packages. I'm going, oh, my gosh. It was millions and millions of dollars of this stuff that was in these bags.
So your DPS troopers, and we're talking locally, right now I'm in the beautiful city of Hempstead. I mean, the sun is shining. Everybody's mining. I mean, you got some bikers there riding around. Well, what a beautiful day today up here in Hempstead, Texas. But your troopers right there locally in Houston, we seized a bunch of fentanyl the other day. And you guys did a great job, of course. All the local news outlets helped to share the story. But I'm telling you right now, we're seizing this fentanyl by the millions. The millions. And it's all coming from predominantly from the Mexico border. I want to share with you, fellas, that your troopers, we're still down there combating that, the illegal drug trade. And I know this is a traffic show, but I got to get this out. Combating the illegal drug trade, the human trafficking, and everything else to try to basically keep Texas clean and keep it, in my opinion, one of the best states in the United States. It's a challenge, but, with the support of the community and, of course, with the funding, we're able to continue to do it to combat this epidemic on our streets. Look, I can set up right in camera view a fentanyl pill and maybe a pill that looks like something of the sort of a metformin or something. Someone would take that's trying to combat diabetes. You wouldn't be able to tell the difference. And that's the problem. A lot of individuals, number one, they're taking the wrong drug, and they're not realizing that the cartel is making these fentanyl pills extremely potent, and people are dying. So we're trying to combat this thing. Number one, to save lives, and number two, it's an egregious crime that puts a bruise on the state.
Sergeant, I got a question. Sergeant, when you come across fentanyl bust, so to speak, what is the precautionary things that you do so you don't handle it or minimize handling it? Is there special procedures for that?
So, man, that stuff is nasty. I stay away from it. I haven't personally come in contact with it. Have I been in the area of a bust of it? Yeah, sure. But it is every trooper in this state, and for that matter, most of your police agencies, we have these Narcan kits to help combat not only, now wait a minute, not only us, because let me tell you something. Think about this. We're using the Narcan kits more on citizens than we are ourselves. There have been cases where we had to use these actual Narcan kits on animals, on dogs, on police dogs. But you roll up on a situation or a scene, if you will, and an individual is going through an episode of bad fentanyl or an overdose, you apply it. I was teaching a class to a group of folks last week, a couple of firemen in the house, and they were telling us, man, they're applying their administrative Narcan. I mean, it's like normal, and it is some nasty stuff. So it's just one more thing we have to educate our kids with, and it's another thing that we got to keep in mind that this is out here, and we need to continue to support our law enforcement community in combating this.
So we do, and there's so much more to it. I mean,
it is.
Yeah,
it is.
We'll talk about that at another time.
To turn the page, I don't want to be a damper bad news, but we're talking about parking spaces. Do you mind if I do that?
Please go right ahead.
Now, somebody may say, now, wait a minute. Let me get the cat out of the bag. As a law enforcement officer, there's certain laws that we cannot enforce in a parking lot because it's private property. Now, can we enforce reckless driving? Things up under that umbrella, because, you know, if you're driving recklessly in a parking lot, you're endangering property, etc. Sure. But when we talk about things like you go to your favorite store and you know how they have those stop signs?
Yeah.
I can't enforce that, Don.
Well, I run the one at my HEB all the time.
You know what? I shouldn't have mentioned that.
And he's proud of it.
He's a rebel.
Yeah.
He's a rebel.
Ooh, rebel.
Brother Lawrence, I can recant that from the tables that live when we done. So we're talking about things that now let's get into parking. So parking can be regulated. Of course, it can be regulated by the entity, you know, HEB, whoever. But I want to talk specifically about the handicap parking spot or the disabled parking spot. So there was a time, if you were a disabled veteran, you had a plate that said DV,
Yep.
you could park in that spot. Well, that's since changed.
Mm-hmm.
So
Now you got to have a blue placard.
you got to have a plaque. You can have a disabled veteran's plate, but it needs to have the international handicap symbol on it,
Right.
or emblem.
By
So-
the way, Steve, can I just interrupt here and tell you that I have found my new favorite show, and it's a morning show, and it is
Okay.
called, and I'm going to recommend that you watch it. It's on A&E. You get
Here
cable
we
out
go.
there where you live.
I do.
Okay. Well, I mean, I didn't.
They
know
got
that.
running water and everything.
But it's on A&E, and it's called Parking Wars. You ever watched it?
You know what? I've heard about that.
Oh my God, Steve! If you want to get your day started off on the right foot, you have got to watch it. 30-minute episodes, and they're in Providence, Rhode Island, Philly, and Detroit mainly. And I have laughed till I cried about these people. One, getting tickets, then the booting process, and then them trying to get the car out of the compound, out of the impound lot.
And following the rules to do that
Oh
or not.
my God! It is absolutely.
Accent that we're working with now. Let me ask you this: it's not scripted like the record shows, right?
No. There's no script.
No.
Trust me.
No.
There's a lot of
All right.
bleeping. I can
yeah.
tell you that.
All right, good. That's my type of show. Well,
Exactly.
with the parking spaces, there's something else we need to be mindful of. So, let's say you go to a parking spot, and parallel to that parking spot is a space with hash marks.
Yes.
We can't park there because that's considered a loading zone. So again, we forget about we always talk about, you know, all of our attributes on the highways and byways, our interstates, farm and market roads, but we forget, you know, that, you know, hey, somebody needs that handicap spot. And I'm telling you now, if someone's parked in that handicap spot and they don't have the license plate or the placard, then unfortunately we're going to have to talk. And I think back to, you know, individuals like my grandmother. She's going on now, but I tell you, she needed that spot.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we see that, and, you know, again, is it a ticketable offense? Sure. But, you know, it's more of a conversation. But I tell my troopers, be extremely careful with someone that has a placard and they park in the spot and they just get out, because you never know what someone's disability is. Every disability is not visible, but we're talking about the folks that are parking in those spots illegally. Number one, if you have a disabled veteran's plate, state says you can't park in that spot anymore. You have to have the international handicap insignia. Yes. And there's two different placards. We know there's the blue one, which is permanent, and then there's the red one, which is prescribed by a doctor.
Temporary.
Pick those up at the county agent, and they'll take care of you on that.
Yeah, and then there's the handicap spots, disabled spots that are for van only, and then there's ones for cars.
And then there's one for pregnant women or
Yeah,
women with children.
Women with
That is
children.
that's not handicapped.
No. But the point I'm trying to make is that you'll see a sedan parked in the van spot.
Yeah. so the pregnant women or the veteran, like you go to Lowe's, they'll have veteran parking. They'll have about 4 or 5 spots. That's a courtesy deal. You know,
by the company.
You know, you park there, you're just being a jerk. You know what I mean?
Right.
But at the end of the day, let's be mindful that, hey, even though our hands are tied and there are minimal traffic laws we can enforce in the parking lot, we still can do reckless driving, especially if you're endangering the public or property. And of course, we need to be mindful of our parking spaces.
So
Fellas, how important? Go ahead.
You may not be able to give them a ticket, but you can talk to people.
Yeah, we'll visit.
Yeah.
Hey, important is insurance.
What?
How important is vehicle insurance?
Well, hell, you got to have vehicle
that's
insurance.
critical.
Would it surprise you? Well, it probably wouldn't. My question was going to be, would it surprise you that the majority of people that would stop, they typically don't have confirmed auto insurance?
That would not surprise me.
Okay, so we're on the same page. So there are several different insurance provisions that you can get. You can get surety bonds. You can be self-insured. You can get the average policy that we all have, whatever. But I would really like to, and this is based on the crashes this year, I would really like to advocate for our listeners to tell their family and friends to really get really uninsured motorists. I'm telling you, I'm knocking on wood, computers, AR-15s, whatever the case may be. If you're hit by someone and they don't have insurance, man, you're in a bind. We're not advocating for particular insurance companies. We don't do that, of course, as you know. But we're trying to save folks the headache that if someone hits you and that individual has insurance, number one, if they leave the scene, hopefully we find them. Number two, if they hit you and they're there, of course, that individual has some legal procedures that they'll have to handle from us. But now you have to take this person to court and get uninsured motorists.
Yes.
It's a little bit more, but you'll thank him in the long run.
See, so let me ask you, who dictates what the driver education courses teach? I mean, is that a function of the DPS or someone to say, here's the minimum things you got to have in a driver's education class? And the reason I'm asking that is because I've had one that just finished, a grandchild just finished, and I got one more that's taking it, and it's the same thing. What I ask them about insurance card. You got your proof of insurance? What? What is that? They don't get taught, or apparently don't get taught those kind of things as part of that driver education. Yeah, curriculum. That's what I'm trying to think of.
I've got a 15-year-old granddaughter that just got her permit. Any words of encouragement?
God help us all. I'm with my son. So first off, there is a curriculum mandated by the state that instructor needs to go through. It's a Teen Impact program. You can take a look at it on the DPS website. That instructor probably went over it, but most things aren't a heart. A lot of when I visit those drive instructor classes, they're harping turns, stopping, and they're trying to prepare that student to pass the state exam.
Right.
And insurance isn't really a state exam observation. So I see what you're saying, but there is a curriculum that has to be followed. It just depends on the instructor on
how well they did it. Yeah.
We haven't gotten to one new driving law and regulation that I teased in my intro to you, and that was 20 minutes ago.
Well, I tell you, their legislation is in. The state's house is packed right now, and I tell you, nothing has really changed for the lay driver. We had a few implementations for the farmer, but there may be some changes after legislation, but everything is still steady as we speak.
Well,
right now.
we like to call that copacetic.
Yeah.
Everything is still copacetic. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're the guy with the shag rug at the house and all that.
I am. Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, and that would be the avocado green. Thank you very much.
And a lava lamp.
That's right. Hey, I want to say this, and I know I'm getting to my time. Talk about new drivers. So my son, he's 18 now, and he's about to go to A&M. He just committed to A&M for football.
Congratulations.
And thank you. He has been in 3 wrecks.
What?
One in my golf cart. One, he was at a green light, made a turn and didn't have the green arrow. And then the last one, and the final one, was he hit a parked car in the neighborhood. Talk about insurance, fellas.
Great driving coach there, coach.
Yeah.
Hey,
Gig him.
look at this. We took that license from him. We took his ability to drive for a little bit. And I'm going to tell you something. His driving has improved dramatically.
Yeah.
So,
When you take his license away, yeah.
And how much did that cost, by the way?
hey, fellas, have a good day.
Yeah, exactly.
Think of something, Brother Don. Insurance is you got to have it, man.
Absolutely.
But my friend with our 15-year-old Jewel that's getting ready to be a new driver, man, don't ever feel like you're harping or being too hard on them, because at the end of the day, driving is the most dangerous thing anybody, including us fellas, can do every single day.
Stephen Woodard, it's great to talk to you. We love you. You know that. Call us anytime. We'd love to have you on.
Be safe.
Thank y'all for having me. Thank y'all.
Yep.
You too.
Thanks, sir.
Love talking to
He's
you.
so much fun.
He is.
Pray
All
for
right,
him every day.
time now for let's do the car review, Mr. Mars, because I know you always manage to get long-winded on these. Mr. Mars has the Ram T-Rex that he got to drive.
I enjoy driving the Ram
Well, you didn't
TRX.
sound like it with that long breath like that.
Well, it's just because there's so much I want to say about this
Well, you
vehicle,
get
and
going
I'm
'cause
going
you got
to.
about
He's not,
you got
he's
4
not sure
minutes.
if Woodard's still listening.
Yeah, I'm making sure he's off. So we had the Hydro Blue, bright blue, gorgeous car. The Ram 1500 is actually available in 7 trim levels, and the TRX is one of those. That's a performance level. It's an awesome full-size performance pickup. It's very distinguishable on the body because it's got flared fenders. I mean, not just fender wells, but I mean the whole fender is flared. Rides on some 35-inch all-terrain tires. It's got skid plates. It's got high-performance Bilstein shocks on it. Got a functional hood scoop. Now, this hood scoop provides 50% of the air to the engine. Actually comes through that hood scoop. The rest of it comes through the rest of the grill and stuff.
She-Jack nostrils. Go ahead.
Yeah. Got TRX graphics all over it. Got rain-sensing wipers and power-folding mirrors. And it's really got a lot of things that are very much similar to the limited trim level. And that's where it gets all its kind of luxury components. And then they took that and beefed it up for all the off-road stuff. Power tailgate release. Got a deployable bed step that you can step up into it. Adjustable cargo ties, cargo bed lightings, trifo tonneau cover, all these kind of good things. Now, you get into the inside of it. And this is actually where you see a little more relationship with the limited trim level, because you got leather seating surfaces. The front seats are heated and ventilated. The rear seat is a 60/40 folding and reclining seat that is also heated and ventilated. So it makes it very nice back there. We had the 12-inch touchscreen in the middle of this monster TV in the middle of the console, and we had the heads-up display for the driver. So, you're going to get your performance pages, your off-road pages. You got all that stuff right there where you can find it and real easy to get to. And we had a 19-speaker Harman Kardon audio system with 900 watts.
Jimmy Buffett.
So if you really wanted to try and drown out the sound of that supercharger, you could try it, but not
Is
good.
this video of you, Mars, out there doing donuts
No.
in this thing?
That's why it's red. I specified I had the blue one, and that's all red.
Well, okay.
So, to make all this thing go, and really what puts it out there to make this thing special is the 6.2-liter supercharged V8 engine. Now, this is 702 horsepower, 650 pound-feet of torque backed by an 8-speed automatic transmission. You plug in that with the 355 gear, and you got lots of go. You can haul a lot of donkey with that thing. Now, the EPA says in
Monty.
the city, you should be looking for 10 miles to the gallon. On the highway, 14. Combined for 12. Now, you got a 33-gallon tank with this thing, so you can go a long ways with it if
Cost
you
you
really
$200
want to.
to fill up.
Yeah, it does nowadays. Now, I drove it 219.9 miles for the week I had it, and I got 10.7 miles to the gallon on average.
Because you're fat-footed.
I love driving this vehicle. Comes with launch control, 4 driving modes on it, got an independent rear suspension, and that gives it really and truly for that vehicle what I think is a remarkable ride down the highway. It just, because of the way it's designed to flex in the off-road environment, it just takes the highway like it's nothing to it. And you set it up there at those speeds that you want to go and just let it flow.
And it's got pitch and roll on it as well.
It's got all kinds of things that I'm not even getting into. I mean, tons of stuff in here.
Theoretically.
So if you're looking at it, you can get a base model Ram 1500 crew cab, or the quad cab actually, for $37,400. But if you want to step up into the world of the performance truck Ram 1500 TRX, you're going to start at $78,790.
Whoa.
Now, we had a few options that I mentioned, punches it up to $98,780. Now, if you're looking for something to compare this to, the only thing that I really felt like you could compare it to is the Ford Raptor, which kind of started this off-road desert.
But the Ford
thing.
Raptor now has a 6-cylinder in it.
Well, it does. They keep promising that there's something bigger coming. But as far as, that there's a 700 horsepower version that they keep saying is an R Raptor is coming. But as far as the suspension and that off-road desert capability, and when it did have a V8 was the first time I ever got in one and actually had one of the Ford engineers drive it to show me what that would do. And I was loving every bit of it. So that's what I would compare it to closest. So if you're looking for something that you can drive around town and you can go off-roading, whether it be in the rocks and the sand and the desert, you might want to really look at the Ram TRX 1500.
I'm thinking more along the lines of a desert runner.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah. It says it'll do 100 miles an hour easy on the desert. I can't imagine going across the desert at 100 miles an hour, but that's what the PR says.
Well, you got to remember back in the day, those types of trucks, I'll go to the original Bronco, they'd go to the Baja.
Yes,
You know, they would display the capabilities of the truck by running it at Baja.
They had modifications, though.
Thank you. In Wheel Time Car Talk Show is available 24/7 through the iHeartRadio app. Just look for In Wheel Time Car Talk. We also video stream on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and InWheelTime.com, and 30-minute podcasts are at your fingertips on over a dozen of the most popular podcast outlets. The In Wheel Time Car Talk Show continues right after this quick break.
Tailpipes and Tacos, Houston's premier car cruise-in returns Saturday, April 15th to the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy, 8 to 11 a.m. Bring your Hot Rod Classic Resto Mod or any other vehicle you'd like to show and compete for one of 3 highly coveted Chili Pepper trophies. This April 15th kickoff event is one you'll want to put on your calendar because 100% of the money you donate for the free tacos will be given to God's Garage. You heard right. Free tacos. Whatever you decide to give, all of it will be given to God's Garage and matched by Lupi Tortilla. God's Garage gifts vehicles to single mothers, widows, and wives of deployed military in the greater Houston area. In fact, the garage will gift a vehicle to a mom in need at this special event. Be sure to attend the next Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise-In, Saturday, April 15th, 8 to 11 a.m. at the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10. Free breakfast tacos for any donation to God's Garage. It'll make your heart and your belly feel good. The award-winning In Wheel Time Car Talk Show is available on the most popular podcast channels out there in 30-minute episodes. We realize our 3-hour live show can be difficult to catch in its entirety, so now you can listen every day to a convenient, fresh 30-minute episode. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Audible, along with a dozen more. In Wheel Time has the most informative automotive guest interviews and new car reviews, along with popular features including Conrad's Car Clinic and This Week in Auto History, along with automotive news headlines. Our live broadcast airs every Saturday, 8 to 11 Central on InWheelTime.com, the iHeart app, and on YouTube. Be sure to say hello when we're broadcasting from the Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise-In, Autorama, and the Houston Auto Show, among others. Now, it's easier than ever to hear about all things automotive all week long. You're invited to join fellow car enthusiasts in becoming part of the ever-growing In Wheel Time Car Talk family. Don't forget You
those
own a
30-minute
car you love.
Well, why not let Gulf Coast Auto Shield protect it? Houstonian John Gray invites you to his state-of-the-art facility to introduce you to his specialist team of auto enthusiasts. We promise you'll be impressed. Whether you're looking to massage your original paint to a like-new appearance, apply a ceramic coating, install a paint protection film, nano-ceramic window tint, or new windshield protection called ExoShield, Gulf Coast Auto Shield is where Houston's car people go.
Curbed your wheels? Instead of buying new, why not have them repaired? How about a professionally installed radar detector? Gulf Coast Auto Shield does that too. Get a peek inside the shop and look at the services offered by getting online and heading to gcautoshield.com. Better yet, stop by their facility at 11275 South Sam Houston Tollway, just south of the Southwest Freeway, and get a personal tour. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is your place to go for all things exterior. Call them today, 832-930-5655 or gcautoshield.com.
From Texas, it's the N. Will Time Car Talk Show coming up. Hopefully, the Falcon flies.
Oh.
Hope to talk to Todd Godin from the Third Coast chapter of the Falcon Club of America. Mustangs not allowed. Just sit down and listen. Conrad has the events calendar, and later a look at the stories making automotive news headlines this week. Howdy, along with Mike Out of This World Mars.
Absent.
King Conrad DeLong.
Absent.
We need more Jeff Zeke.
I'm present.
Don Armstrong.
Present.
Here. Thank you for joining us on this live episode of the N. Will Time Car Talk Show as we wait for our next guest to join us from the Third Coast chapter of the Falcon Club of America. We have other things that we can talk about, and
Certainly
as soon as Conrad puts his headset down and he can get it together, I would love to do the events calendar.
He was over in the dressing room,
I know he was. He was putting on powdering his face,
powdering his nose.
Yeah. So, do you have the events calendar handy?
Well, tomorrow is first Sunday of the month, and that is Coffee and Chrome at the Avalon Diner,
It certainly is.
which is down here
Chrome and
at
coffee.
Chrome and Coffee, which is Highway 90 and 5969
Basically, yeah.
Southwest Freeway,
The Meadows.
whatever else they want to call
The
it.
fountain.
The Fountains, Meadows area. Yeah.
So starts at 9 a.m.
9 to noon.
and a great breakfast place.
I'm just going to say, yeah. And I think that's part of the attraction is that we can go there, talk to our fellow car guys.
Network. Yep.
And gals.
Mhm.
And then we can also have some really good breakfast, including
It is good.
grits.
Mhm.
I love grits.
You like the grits with jalapenos or something?
Well, no, just that grits with butter. And I usually get I don't remember what they call it, but it's 2 eggs and some extra crispy bacon.
It's called breakfast.
And and some nice English muffins with lots of butter on those too.
Yep.
It's not a dietary kind of breakfast, but I like it.
No, yeah, there's
Orange juice and coffee. That's
You
what
bet.
I like.
absolutely.
Great for hangovers. Not that I
You
would
plan on
planning
one?
on having
I was
a
gonna
hangover?
say,
No,
You
I
drinking
don't.
tonight, Don?
I don't plan on it. I don't plan on it, but
Doesn't
I mean-
mean you won't. You're just not planning on
Correct.
it's not on the schedule.
last night was Los Tios, and
Yeah.
I've
Those are
discovered
good.
for an extra $1.50, I can get the
it. All you can drink
the
margaritas.
the Presidente, which is you can get it frozen or on the rocks, but it has some Grand Marnier in it and a nice little topper of some Hornitos.
Hornitos. That's the word I couldn't think of last night.
Uh-huh.
Hornitos.
Hornitos.
Hornitos really.
That's the brand.
It's the brand of tequila, right?
Don't
Right.
tell me you don't know.
Oh yeah. I know what Hornitos is.
Okay, just checking. So anyway, that was last night. So I'm thinking I'm going to back off tonight. I had 2 frozen margaritas, and it was like. Then
So
it
you were
wasn't
looking for grits this morning?
Yeah, exactly.
grits
Kathy,
grits
see,
and
I-
slather me in butter.
I love grits. I guess
grits are
most-
good. Yeah, you could have them, like I said, with jalapenos or the seasoning and stuff like that. Grits are good. I'll
See,
eat it.
and the Italians call it polenta.
Oh, do they? Oh.
It's it is basically the same product, grits, and it's thicker than grits is. And
Just
I
pour a
don't
little,
like watery grits.
pour a little
No
Hornitos
watery
on it.
grits. Yeah, no.
Thin out your Hornitos.
or something.
Yeah.
So, and then also this afternoon is Ford versus F Body at Las Cucos off of.
Wait a minute. Ford versus F Body.
Right.
What does that mean?
Bring your Mustangs and bring your Camaros. Mullets welcome.
Ford versus.
F Bodies.
Okay.
So it's Camaros, Firebirds, and Mustangs.
All right.
Not F-150s, but
But see, that's what came to mind was the F body being the
me
F-150.
too.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And it's a $5 entry fee, and it's the Los Cucos off of Clay Road. Houston Streetcar Meet, and that's in Conroe at 336 off of 336 in Conroe, and that's a free cruise in. Family Lowrider Night. Should have had you bring that music.
That's all right.
Lowrider. Good, great song. And that is going to be
Low rider.
right a little lower.
What does it get you to sing?
And that's at 6101 East Mount Houston Road in Houston. Lowrider only cruise in, and that's free. The Meet and Eat in Lumberton at the Seafood House. That's out your direction is Lumberton, Mars.
Yes, sir.
It's
A little
still
bit north.
cold
You ever
up
been there, Mars?
Lumberton's East Texas.
I've been to Lumberton, yes.
351 South Main Street, and they actually have a
Traffic light?
No, there's a couple of traffic lights in Lumberton, but I've had they do a killer oyster poor boy at this place.
Mars, that is your
Assignment.
tonight. You're going to go there
No, can't do it tonight.
and
And a
report
food
back
review.
to us.
What are you driving now?
At the Raptor, Bronco
Bronco?
Raptor.
You ought to bring that up there. They'd love to see it.
Probably so. Maybe tomorrow.
Yeah, take Becky with you.
No.
No, that's and then also this evening at 5 p.m. is the Dayton Cruisers monthly street meet, 300 North Dayton, North Main Street in Dayton. The let me kind of go through a few of these, kind of shorten this up because Don always tells me to go long.
You do.
Mm-hmm.
You get on a roll and just don't
classic
stop.
cars of Brazoria County cruising at the Lubies on 125 West Way in Lake Jackson.
I know where that's at.
That starts at 6 p.m. You know where the Lubies is?
Lake Jackson.
Oh, I was going to say, are you a Luann Platter kind of guy?
No.
Wasn't Luann Platter a character on
Mel's Diner?
No. Luann Platter was an actual character, a cartoon character, in what show was that?
Stump.
The Simpsons, I think.
Was it?
I think Luann Platter was.
No. The other one that was down in along the border where they sit there in the town.
We've lost control.
Come
Check
on,
your Motor
Mars.
Trend TV.
Mike Judge is the guy that does it, and they have ZZ Top. He sells propane.
Oh,
I wish I could sell my propane.
yeah. I know what you're talking about.
And then,
Propane and propane accessories.
also tonight at 5 p.m. is Brookshire Brothers Cruising in Montgomery, Texas. And at 6 p.m. is the Wharton Cruise Night at Domino's Pizza in Wharton, Texas.
Domino's. They don't have a sit-down Domino's, do they?
They do in Wharton.
Really? A sit-down Domino's.
I don't know if it's no. I don't think it's a sit down. I just think it's a Domino's
in the
Pizza
parking
that has
lot
a parking
area.
lot.
Probably a drive-through.
Okay.
Drive up.
Mhm.
So that's what's going on. But for us, it's Chrome and Coffee at the Avalon Diner. Don will be there signing autographs, and he has hero cards of Jeff Zekin.
Hero cards
Of
of
me.
Jeff Zekin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be passing those out.
There you go.
Or I'll pass
People will
out.
be passing, not getting them.
Mr. Mars, where's our guest?
It'll be easy to see who Don is. He'll be the one lathered in butter with grits
Grits all
his-
over him. And his red driving pumps.
I'm a shrimp and grits guy.
I like shrimp.
That
and
sounds
grits.
good.
Yeah, those are very good
A little
usually.
spicy, a
Yep.
little extra sauce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a Cajun shrimp in the grits.
Yes,
Mhm.
we like all of that. Well, while we have the time, let's talk about the used car market.
Here
We
we
really
go.
should have the Emmons brothers on
Mhm.
to talk about this, but story from Automotive News: dealers are wary about their used vehicle prospects for 2023 after worsening market conditions led used vehicle sales to tumble last year. But while used vehicle sales are expected to drop again this year, dealers and used vehicle experts don't expect the hit to consumer demand and profits will be severe in early 2023. Wholesale used vehicle prices are down significantly from last year's record highs, but they've not crashed. New vehicle supply is somewhat improved at the start of 23, but until fully recovered, the need for used vehicles remains elevated. Even so, major concerns loom, and many dealers say high retail prices and rising interest rates create a 1-2 punch that will further discourage consumers concerned about affordability and potentially shut down and shut more of them out of the market altogether.
Yikes.
Sales of used vehicles in 2022 dropped to a nearly decade-long low, and experts forecast that volatile economic conditions and consumers resulting affordability concerns are likely to push used vehicle volume down further in 2023.
That's only going to push prices up.
Probably. Well, it depends on how much you paid for the car originally. Was it a used car before, or is this new to the market used car? Don't you agree?
Oh, yeah. And then, because as those prices go down, the used car lot operator, he's going to have to adjust his inventory pricing, and that can be quite expensive
For him,
especially if you're carrying 300, 400, 500 vehicles like some of them do.
Yeah. I can only imagine these great, big, huge lots like the Texas Direct down the freeway here. I never see a vacant space for a used car for sale.
And if you go down that street, there's always a car carrier, either half empty or half full, depending on you take them off or put them on.
Is it coming, you're going?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
There's AutoNation Lane, I believe.
But Texas Direct is a independently owned used car lot,
and they
isn't it?
sell a ton off of eBay, and will deliver it anywhere in the country for a fee.
Wonder how Carvana's doing this week. I haven't seen any ads for it.
No, we were expecting a story from you.
I haven't seen any ads either.
No, I think they're laying low, waiting for the next shoe to drop, and I'm thinking it's going to be complete bankruptcy.
No,
How much do they pay for those stupid vending machines?
I don't
How
know.
much do just the machine itself? Because what is it, 4 stories tall?
At least
just an
I think some
elevator
of them
system.
were 7 stories.
It's big. I have never seen one of them full of cars
I really haven't seen where they're at located.
because
I mean,
it's supposed to
this-
be.
No,
It's
there's one
supposed to.
basically at I-10
Yeah.
and Beltway 8.
Yeah.
Seen him.
Oh, do we have our guest?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, let's go. We'll finish this conversation. Oh,
Another
maybe in
day.
the next 9 months if
In
they
the-
don't go belly
in the
up.
fourth hour.
Joining us now, live via the Zoom, is Mr. Todd Godin. Hope I pronounced that right. From the Third Coast chapter of the Falcon Club of America. And Todd, you weren't with us to hear this, but I'm going to go ahead and say it anyway. Third Coast chapter of the Falcon Club of America. Mustangs not allowed. Just sit down and listen. How was that for an introduction? Do you like that?
Well, all I can say is, who's your daddy?
So the Falcon Club, I have to tell you that this is a first for me. I've never spoken to anybody that was a member, much less the president, of a Falcon Club. Because whether you like it or not, in my generation, and I'm older than you, Todd, probably. Either that or we're close.
Maybe.
Yeah. I can tell you
Yep.
that Falcons were kind of made fun of because
Yeah, they were the entry-level car.
they were, the entry-level Ford. And let's face it, I mean, they didn't have the shape of a Mustang or
This is from a guy who owned a Corvair.
I owned a Corvair.
The one they forgot to
Well, that
put
was
the
the
engine in the
competition
front.
for the Falcon.
Yep.
Yeah. So I have nothing to. I'm not in a position to talk, if you know what I mean.
You started it.
I did. I'm just arguing with myself.
At least you can get a V8 and a Falcon.
Could you?
Yep.
Yeah.
Get 289.
Do you have any V8s in your Falcon Club?
Yeah.
You do.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
What size V8?
Yeah.
Oh,
V8s
early
came-
289s.
Huh? Was it a 289?
Well, yeah. There's the 289 and 302 are interchangeable. You see a lot of people running 302s these days. We have a guy in our club running. I think it's about a 518 or something in one of his 70
doggies.
and a half Falcons.
Wow.
I'll be.
It'll get it.
Well, I will say this.
But yeah, 63 and a half is when the V8 came out in the Falcon. It's commonly called a 63 and a half because they came out with a convertible that year. as well as the V8, the 260.
Well, why did they do
Mid-year.
that knowing that they were going to build a Mustang the following year?
You'd have to ask Robert McNamara that. I don't know that answer. Make it a little sportier, I guess, to boost the sales, because at the time you could get, it came with bucket seats and a console.
Yeah, competition within the brand.
But and that was that strictly in the two-door? Could you get bucket seats in a console in a four-door?
I don't believe so. I don't think so.
Yeah. I mean, I really,
Not that
I'm
I'm
kind
aware
of, I'm at a loss because I really don't know that much about Falcons. I never knew anybody that had one.
Well, they might have been doing some R&D for the Mustang to see, what it could take and the durability of running a V8, because I know that whole front clip, that whole front chassis piece of the Falcon was the starting point for the Mustang.
Mm-hmm.
So, get a
The
year.
63 chassis was the starting part. I mean, basically they're interchangeable, most of the parts.
So it gave them a
Did not
little
know
time to do some validation and some R&D of what a V8 would do to the front end of that vehicle.
Interesting.
And
Have you ever known anybody that owned a Falcon?
Yeah.
You have?
A friend of mine in high school had a Falcon. Wasn't there? And I'm trying to remember. I think there was a Sprint model of it as well.
That was a little bit later.
That's
wasn't it?
correct.
Yeah.
Sprint model came out mid-year 63.
What
Basically,
year?
it was
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
go ahead.
I was going to ask
No,
you.
basically it was a mid-year. It was a mid-year package. Is really what it was, where you got some chrome valve covers, a chrome power steering pump cover, a special badging, attack, a dash-mounted tack. There's it didn't necessarily. You could get a Sprint in it with a bench seat though, and then that was just kind of an add-on package. Some people, I think 64 is the only year model where the VIN number would identify it as a Sprint. The rest of the time, it was really a Futura with a Sprint package.
And that was like an El Camino.
What
wasn't it?
years were the Falcons made?
1960 to 1970. There is
Wow.
a 70 and a half, but that was a half-year vehicle that was actually on the Torino platform. And the way you can tell them the difference is that a Falcon has a wing vent, and it also has a frame door to give it the appearance of a B-pillar. The Torino did not have either one of those features, so that's the difference in that body.
So the
They only
Torinos were
did it for a half year, and then they switched to the Torino platform.
a pure hardtop, and the Falcons were a post car.
And it's so weird because the Torino is such a
Right.
much larger vehicle
is, yeah.
than the Falcon.
Yep.
And I didn't know that.
And they souped them up. They're good looking
Just
cars.
look up a 70 and a half Falcon, and you could actually get that with a 429 Cobra Jet.
And could you get the hideaway headlights on the Falcon as well?
I don't recall that. I don't think so.
And
But I could be wrong on that. But I've never seen them.
early 60s, wasn't the Falcon also the chassis that they used for the Ranchero?
That's the one I was thinking of, Ranchero.
Correct. The Ranchero came out in 57 on the Fairlane platform, but in 60 they switched it to the Falcon platform.
Which Falcon
There
do you have?
I have a 64 Ranchero and a 65 Squire station wagon.
Oh,
now you're
God,
talking.
that's-
Jeffrey's a
Let's talk
wagon
about
guy.
the station wagon.
Yeah, betcha.
Oh my gosh, is it all original?
Hell yeah.
Is it all original?
Well, it is original. It's had a repaint and some cosmetic work to it. And I have to admit, it does have a 302, but most people can't tell the difference.
Nice.
I put disc brakes on it. I put factory air. Well, I say factory air. It's a period original AC unit, the under dash mount that the dealers install.
Yeah.
So it's bearable to drive around, especially down here in Texas.
Now, do you have the wood panel siding on it?
I sure do.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so it was an upscale one because if my memory serves me
Right.
correctly, those cars, you could get them at the entry level and they're just paint. But if you want to get the upscale one, then you have the vinyl wood on the side of it.
How long have you had it?
Yep.
How long have
I've had the Squire about 5 years. My Ranchero I've had since January 1, 2000.
Oh, wow.
So that's my Y2K truck.
There
Yeah.
you go.
And didn't they also offer, and I'm going to say 64, 65-ish, wasn't there a Caliente version, kind of a more luxurious version?
That's a Comet.
Oh, Comet, excuse me.
No, sir, that's a Comet.
Comets were fun too.
But weren't those a shared platform?
Yes, there are parts that are interchangeable on that. I'm not sure really all the intricacies, but yeah, a lot of people say Comets and Falcons are brothers and sisters, if you will, because they're pretty much share a lot of the same parts.
Well, brothers
I don't-
and sisters
I
in
don't know if I can
Arkansas
see
are a
this.
different story.
Yeah.
Yeah, Third Coast chapter of the Falcon Club of America. And are you here in Houston?
Look, there's this.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah.
beautiful.
My goodness.
That looks
Oh,
awesome.
that is gorgeous.
I'm tearing up.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is a jet. That's a jet.
That's Gigi, my grocery getter.
Oh.
the grocery
Gigi, the grocery
Grocery
getter.
getter,
We had a
yeah.
guy that had a 63
Yep.
that would cruise the drag there in Nederland, but he had a straight front axle under it.
Cruise
like
the
a
drag.
gasser.
Gasser.
And he had it back raised up so he could get the tires because he didn't want to cut the fender wells on it. Got no weight transfer. I mean, wasn't really that fast, but he could do some serious burnouts in that thing because he had the 289 with the headers. He popped it up a little bit, but it was pretty cool.
Well, that's really cool. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so how many members in the Third Coast chapter of the Falcon Club of America?
We have about 41.
Holy-
And I'd say, yeah, 20,
Pretty good number.
25 are active on a regular basis.
Yeah. Are you here in Houston?
Yeah, yes, sir. I live in Cypress and out in the Northwest. We have members. He just mentioned Nederland. We have a member from Groves. We have a member from Montgomery, Magnolia, League City, Pearland, Richmond, Rosenberg. We've got them from all over. We meet the third Saturday of every even month. And in the odd months, we try to have a little get together, whether it's a coffee and cars or, coffee and Falcons, if you will. Or we take a trip somewhere like the Gullo Car Museum or something like that.
Well, we sure would love to
But,
have you
yeah,
show up at Tailpipes and Tacos,
Yeah, Lupe
out there
Tortilla.
in Katie's Loopy
Yep.
Tortilla.
Off of Grand Parkway in Kingsland.
Yeah,
We can probably do that.
And that'll be the 15th.
April 15th, yeah.
April 15th.
That'd be an
April 15th.
even month.
Yep.
Yeah. So April 15th, put it on the calendar. April 15th, Tailpipes and Tacos, Loopy Tortilla. It's 8 to 11. It's a Saturday morning. And, free tacos. All you have to do is just make a donation to God's Garage, and you're good to go. And it's a great event. And we want to see the Falcons
Oh, yeah.
there.
I want to ride in one.
Oh, I will try to get some. I'll try to get some out there, but I will tell you that weekend is a Falcon Regional in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, that I know some of us will be at.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Well,
maybe another.
A Falcon
Tacos.
Regional. How popular is the Falcon?
yeah,
Yes, sir.
exactly. Well, Todd, it's great to talk to you, my friend. Thanks so
we
much
have
for
a
joining.
national. Sure.
Well, go ahead. Or you're going to say something?
We have a national meet in July as well. Yeah, we have a national meet in July in Kansas City this year as well.
Oh, wow.
And usually we get over 200 to 250 Falcons.
Wow.
Nice. All right. Well, long fly the Falcon. All right.
Everybody has a Falcon story.
No, I'm sure. Yes, they
They
do.
do. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Todd, thanks
Yep.
again. We'll talk to you again soon.
You bet. Thank you guys.
You bet. Hey, by the way, we'd love to hear from you. Just shoot us an email. Our address here is info@inwheeltime.com. Is there
He's
anything?
right. Everybody does have a Falcon story.
Well, that is true. I mean, I do.
I do. High school.
Yeah.
Did you own one?
No, just a friend of mine had one.
Yeah.
He had a ranchero
We used to put the little blinders on them, and they would land on our arms.
in Detroit.
Falcons.
Falcons in Detroit.
Yeah.
What? There's a real.
Actually,
stretch, Jeff.
actually, they were pigeons in Detroit.
We dressed them up like Falcons.
Yeah.
He put the blinders on him and they'd poop all over his arm.
Yeah.
Jeff would stand out there like a statue.
They're good with hollandaise sauce on them.
Hollandaise sauce. Nice. All right. Speaking of Ford Motor Company on Monday said it would reduce the price of the 2023 Mustang Mach-E crossover by $600 to $5,900, depending on the trim, as it boosts production in hopes of solidifying its status as the nation's number 2 electric vehicle maker. Price cuts come shortly after Tesla, by far the U.S. EV sales leader, announced price cuts of up to $13,000 on the Model Y crossover, igniting a surge in demand.
Did you hear that General Motors is not
The largest price cut, stand by, the largest price cut comes on the GT extended range model, which will be $65,495, down from $71,000, including shipping. Okay, your turn.
Did you hear General Motors is not going to offer a GMPP extended warranty on the new Z06 Corvette C8?
No.
What does that mean?
Well, their extended warranty, GMPP, General Motors Protection Plan, has been a stalwart available feature on any GM vehicle through the years. Well, I guess GM might be a little bit concerned with some of the durability issues with the transmission and the engine that have popped up on the C8, and they are not going to offer a GMPP on the new Z06. Though the new Z06 is primarily, my opinion, a race car.
Yeah.
And who offers extended warranties on race cars? Well,
What are they, $150,000?
Well, Dodge does. So does
Are they
Porsche.
$150,000?
Well, sticker price is going to be somewhere north of 120, and then dealer add-on and stuff 150. So other companies will probably offer a policy, but GM will
at a
not
price.
offer an in-house policy, which would be interesting.
Wow. Why would you buy something like that buy a brand new car without a warranty?
Well, it'll have a warranty, but just you can't get the extended warranty.
The protection plan.
No.
Beyond that.
What is the current warranty? Is it 3 and 36?
336. Yeah.
Like it used to be back in 1969. 3 and 36.
No, it was 1212.
No, 1212 was base, and then 336 on powertrain.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, we're going to take a quick break now. We'll be right back. You're on the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show.
Tailpipes and Tacos, Houston's premier car cruise-in returns Saturday, April 15th to the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy, 8 to 11 a.m. Bring your Hot Rod Classic, Resto Mod, or any other vehicle you'd like to show and compete for one of 3 highly coveted Chili Pepper trophies. This April 15th kickoff event is one you'll want to put on your calendar because 100% of the money you donate for the free tacos will be given to God's Garage. You heard right. Free tacos. Whatever you decide to give, all of it will be given to God's Garage and matched by Lupi Tortilla. God's Garage gifts vehicles to single mothers, widows, and wives of deployed military in the greater Houston area. In fact, the Garage will gift a vehicle to a mom in need at this special event. Be sure to attend the next Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise-In, Saturday, April 15th, 8 to 11 a.m. at the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10. Free breakfast tacos for any donation to God's Garage. It'll make your heart and your belly feel good. The award-winning In Wheel Time Car Talk Show is available on the most popular podcast channels out there in 30-minute episodes. We realize our 3-hour live show can be difficult to catch in its entirety, so now you can listen every day to a convenient, fresh 30-minute episode. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Audible, along with a dozen more. In Wheel Time has the most informative automotive guest interviews and new car reviews, along with popular features including Conrad's Car Clinic and This Week in Auto History, along with automotive news headlines. Our live broadcast airs every Saturday, 8 to 11 Central on InWheelTime.com, the iHeart app, and on YouTube. Be sure to say hello when we're broadcasting from the Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise-In, Autorama, and the Houston Auto Show, among others. Now, it's easier than ever to hear about all things automotive all week long. You're invited to join fellow car enthusiasts in becoming part of the ever-growing In Wheel Time Car Talk family. Don't forget those 30-minute podcast episodes on your favorite podcast channel. You own a car you love. Well, why not let Gulf Coast Auto Shield protect it? Houstonian John Gray invites you to his state-of-the-art facility to introduce you to his specialist team of auto enthusiasts. We promise you'll be impressed. Whether you're looking to massage your original paint to a like-new appearance, apply a ceramic coating, install a paint protection film, nano-ceramic window tint, or new windshield protection called ExoShield, Gulf Coast Auto Shield is where Houston's car people go. Curbed your wheels? Instead of buying new, why not have them repaired? How about a professionally installed radar detector? Gulf Coast Auto Shield does that too. Get a peek inside the shop and look at the services offered by getting online and heading to gcautoshield.com. Better yet, stop by their facility at 11275 South Sam Houston Tollway, just south of the Southwest Freeway, and get a personal tour. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is your place to go for all things exterior. Call them today, 832-930-5655 or gcautoshield.com.
Yes, it's the N-Wheel Time Car Talk Show. Just ahead, we hope to have, joining us here in a moment, the president of the International Hot Rod Association.
All rise.
All right.
Mel Roth. And I asked the boys here on the dais, is it Mel Big Daddy Roth? And Conrad says, probably not.
Probably not.
But I'm sure he's heard it before.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to find out what's happening over on the other side of the fence from him, hopefully. I got to drive the 2023 Kia Soul. Soul, brother.
Mm-hmm.
Give you my impressions on it. We'll also have the cruise-in calendar, and later Conrad will have This Week in Auto History, and we'll have stories making automotive news headlines this week. Just ahead on the N-Wheel Time Car Talk Show, howdy, along with Mike Out of This World Mars, King Conrad DeLong. We need more Jeff Zekin. I'm Don Armstrong. Thanks for joining us today. I had Hemmings Motor News sold cars roundup. Now this gets sent to me on Mondays, so it's kind of
So they're all sold by now.
they're all sold. These are all sold.
They were all sold when they sent it to them.
Correct. So I thought I'd just give you a taste of what's out in the market
All right.
and what you get. Now understand,
And not the insanity of what went on at
Barrett.
Barrett Jackson or the Mecum sales, which some of those numbers were completely out of control.
Yeah.
so some of these guys just have more money than sense, or what?
I'm not real sure what happened, but there was a 1970 GTO sold for $1 million.
Why?
Well, it was like a 1 of 6 and fully documented, and
So you're never going to drive it.
no, that's going to be a museum.
So it goes back to my question: why?
Because somebody can. I don't know.
Guess how much I paid for that car? $1 million.
Too much.
It's
But
kind of
don't
like
touch
one
it.
of those things that, hey,
touch it, Mike.
somebody wants that. Well, I want it more than him. Wait a minute, he's going up on price. I'm not going to let him have it.
Yeah.
Where it gets to where it becomes stupid money because it's a matter of principle. You can't have it, so you want it more.
Well, this one here I don't think is too stupid. This is a 1969 Mercury Cougar XR7.
Nice car.
What engine?
Nice car.
It doesn't say. I don't have
351.
those kind of details. It may be a rust bucket underneath it,
390.
but it's sold for $17,850.
Probably at a
That's
390.
not a bad price
No,
at
not
all
at all.
because the XR7 was their performance
It
version.
absolutely was. And then it went into an
of the
eliminator
Cougar.
stage
Right.
after that.
Here's one for Mars, a 1934 Chevrolet Deluxe.
He still has one.
Deluxe.
That's a pickup truck.
12,000.
13,125.
Ooh.
And you'd look perfect coming down the highway with the thing floored doing 50 miles an hour.
With Mom in the back in a rocking chair.
That's it.
Strapped down, of course.
Here's one that
And Mike and his dog sitting next to him.
I would probably have purchased this myself. A 1964 Chevy El Camino.
Oh, yeah.
What would you guess the price of
What
this?
year is it?
1964.
25.
I was thinking 25.
20. 19,163. Odd price, but whatever. I like it. My daughters, both of them go, "Ooh, Dad, what kind of car is that?" It's an El
That's a
Camino.
cool one.
That's ugly. No, it's not. It's cool.
I was always an El Camino fan,
Me too.
except at the drag races because something about the El Camino or the Chevy Chevelle wagons, they would twist as they would
Yes,
torque up.
they would.
I mean, literally, the one front tire would be 12 inches above
Yes.
the
The
other front
unibody.
tire.
It's the unibody flex.
Yeah. Well, no, those are full frame.
Were they full
vehicles.
frame?
Yeah, El
Yeah.
Camino was a full frame.
But the frames weren't all that.
Because my Nova was a unibody.
Here's one for Conrad. A 1948 Chevy two-door.
That would have been probably a fastback too.
Cool
Cool
well,
looking,
you want to
cool
call
looking
it that
car.
way. Yeah.
Well, they were
Huge front fenders
Oh,
that
yeah.
went all the way back into the doors.
and
Sold-
a trunk that slept 6.
1948 Chevrolet, $11,288.
Not a bad price.
Wow.
There it is, right there. Can you see it? It's got
Yeah, that's
pictures,
nice.
kind of small.
Uh-huh.
It's probably got some
not
patina to it.
No, it looks like it's all fixed up, but you don't know what the underside looks like. How about this is Stan's car, a 1938 Buick Century. Can you see it?
Yeah. Yep.
$29,400.
Don't tell
but
Stan.
I'll bet it's not.
No.
I bet
I was
it's
gonna say,
not
that's
quality.
museum quality.
Stan's is pristine.
That's pretty good money.
Yeah.
And if you went to Autorama, you saw Stan's 38 Buick in there, and it was magnificent. All we needed was some machine guns and some of those fedoras on. How about I had a friend of mine that had a 1929 Ford pickup truck, and
Cool.
brought it to high school, and it was my first experience in a Model A. And had the original engine in it, little flathead 4-cylinder, I believe.
That is a low-flying plane over your house, Don.
Well, the airport's just right there.
And they're chasing balloons.
They're chasing balloons.
balloons.
So the sold price for the 1929 Ford pickup truck, you want to guess?
30.
25.
$15,488.
Not a bad. That's actually a pretty good
Yeah,
price
it
if
is.
the truck's in halfway decent shape.
Looks like it to me.
It was drivable, yeah.
It's right there.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
that's a pretty decent price.
Tub it out.
Yeah, tub it out. Now,
Put the LS in the back.
Bet.
and
And a Tornado front-wheel drive transmission assembly back there with it.
Oh, that'd be cool. That's been done before on some of these Motor Trend TV shows.
Corvairs or Coronados is what they were called, but it was not uncommon to take a Corvair and stick a Oldsmobile 455 and transmission
And just
in the
flip
back,
it around.
and in the back of them.
You notice he had to get Oldsmobile in there.
Of
I know.
course.
Well, I will tell you that I have no regrets about selling the one that Sweet Rides did for me.
I assume it's actually in a better place
Yes, I'm sure that it is because
because it's not sitting out here under a cover next to the Corvette.
that's right.
Or a planter in the front yard.
But it was sold to the guy that owns
Edible arrangements.
Edible Arrangements.
Out of Atlanta or something, is it?
Interesting to see what else he has in his
Yeah,
collection.
because it's got to be a collection.
Mhm.
But it was a clean little car.
That or they ate it.
They ate it. Yeah, that's good. They did not. Well, Mr. Mars, I'm a little disappointed
Me too.
because did you call him yesterday and say, "Hey, don't forget we're on today"?
Not him. No, I did not. Him.
Well, that's too bad because I was looking
Apparently I
forward to
should have.
talking to Mr. Mel Roth. But in the meantime,
Was it Tariq Farid,
who?
the CEO of Edible Arrangements? Tariq Farid.
Could not tell you. I don't know. I have no clue. But I will tell you this: that did you know that the IHRA, International Hot Rod Association, which is the competitor, obviously, to NHRA, was formed in November 1970 by businessman Larry Carrier. I didn't know that.
No.
And it was based out of Bristol, Tennessee. Had no clue. Did you?
Did not.
So I was doing a little research
I always
yesterday.
thought Billy Meyer had something to do with it.
Well, that was later on.
So he did have something to
yes.
do with it. Yeah, it's
1988 to 98, IHRA moved to Waco after it was purchased by Texan racer and track operator Billy Meyer, who made many changes to the organization, some of which proved controversial amongst racers, such as completely restructuring the sportsman classes overnight. Another radical change came as a result of Meyer's ownership of the Texas Motorplex, considered then to be the premier drag racing facility in the world. Motorplex had previously been with NHRA's flagship track, but for 88 it hosted 2 IHRA events and was the site of Top Fuel's first 4-second run by Eddie Hill.
another Texan.
Yeah.
Yep. Other changes include the addition of a junior pro stock class for small block V6 engines named Factory Modified, which lasted until the end of the 90 season. But financial failure meant that Meyer's reign lasted just 1 year before the association was again sold. 88,
good
the
job,
headquarters
Billy.
moved back to Bristol under the ownership of Ted Jones and Jim Ruth. And there were a lot of iterations. Bill Bader, Clear Channel, Feld, and Palm Beach owned the thing. And outside the continental U.S., let's see, IHRA oversaw tracks. It still does in Canada, Hawaii, and Aruba. Let's
been
go
to Aruba.
racing in
Yeah,
Aruba.
we need to go
Been to
check
Aruba.
that track out.
We think we need to have a remote
Mm-hmm.
at the Aruba banana track or whatever they're
Aruba
called.
Raceway.
Aruba Raceway.
Yeah.
Say that fast.
Aruba Raceway.
Cayuga, Ontario. Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to go through the notes here, but at any rate,
I think the
let's see.
closest one's in Lufkin. Is the closest IHRA track.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Lufkin, Texas.
See?
All-time win leaders in IHRA. No surprise, but kind of a surprise. Clay Milliken in the professional ranks with 52 wins in IHRA. I didn't know that.
He's still racing.
Ricky Smith
Yeah,
at
he's come to
33
NHRA.
wins. Scotty Cannon. Don Garlitz has 25 wins in IHRA. Bob Glidden, 21. Mark Oswald, 21. Doug Herbert, 20. Dale Poldy, 20. And Gene Snow, 20.
Gene Snow. There's a name from the past.
Boy,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. I think that he spent some time in the penitentiary, didn't he? For, like child
I bet-
molestation
I
or
don't know.
something?
Don't know.
Look that up.
Roommate of yours?
No, I didn't have anything to do with that. Thank you for throwing that in there.
Really?
The sportsman class, I don't know any of these people there. But at any rate,
Well, Mark Oswald was he raced pro stock
yeah,
in NHRA.
yes. But in the sportsman class is what I was referring to.
Oh, yeah.
At any rate, IHRA. I'd completely forgot. I knew somebody that actually raced in IHRA and that preferred it over NHRA. Why, I don't know. I guess it's some rules thing. But that's really the difference between the two organizations were rules for the different classes.
And you don't hear the names like Schumacher or Force in that list that you gave either.
No, because once
But you
you
got
get
Garlitz.
once you
Neil
get
Garlitz,
to NHRA kind of frowns upon
Foo-foos you
r-
playing in the other brand.
right
Mhm.
at
The other
the same
kitty
time you're
box.
playing in their brand.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that all plays out today. It used to be like, nope, you're in the IHRA, you're not coming back to the NHRA. You had to beg your way back in.
Oh, be darned.
But I would imagine that it's not so much that way anymore. Be my guess.
Well, isn't Erica's going to do some
Testing?
Monster Motor pro stock or some?
Was that her sister?
So,
No, it's Erica.
is a
Erica's.
monster motor car. That's all that.
And they got a new car color scheme too. Don't they have a white one now?
Yes. I think that's
Mm-hmm. That's
I
the
think
one.
the way I took it, the pro stocks are going to stay red, but everything else is going to go to the white.
And Skag is
Ricky Skaggs?
No, Skag SCAG, which is
Got all his albums.
they do I'll say lawnmower stuff, not necessarily, but it's the
Lawn,
same,
like racing mowers?
no, but it's the same company that's sponsoring
Toro.
Tony Schumacher.
Skag.
Skag.
SCAG.
I think they are spending money with Elite this year as a primary sponsor as well.
Oh, I had no clue. Well, is this Monster Motor thing? Are they going to televise it?
I don't know if they're going to televise it. I had posted something on our Facebook page about it.
I think that's where I saw it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know nothing about it.
So I think they're going with like a 900 cubic inch nitrous
Yeah,
motor.
Some up in
Nitrous,
Pennsylvania,
900 cubic.
Yeah.
So is this going to outrun ProMod?
I think it might
Those
be a
things are
pro
scary.
mod. I think it might be a pro mod.
They're scary.
In a late model
Camaro.
bodied car?
Camaro.
They're all Camaros.
Well, I think the one that they're running.
All
Well,
of
yeah,
hers
that's their team
are-
car.
yeah.
Huh.
So if you subscribe, you find out all this information
That's right.
Subscribe
it.
to what?
All
Us?
in real time.
In real time.
Well, we
Facebook
don't know.
page.
Hell, I don't know
He
any of
posted
this.
it. Yeah, he'll get it done.
Dump it on him,
Yeah.
like we do.
He was late without a note
That's
this
right.
morning.
Well, because he
Now you got me going to look.
because he had to scrape the frost off
With a credit card.
of his a windshield.
Paid for it that way. Did you find it?
So did you see the unicorn I posted the other day? The C5 Indy pace car, the purple yellow one.
That thing. What? Who?
with the yellow wagon wheels
Yes,
on it.
just horrible.
I knew
There
somebody
was
that had one.
There was a guy that one of the football players, got his big scholarship and all that stuff. He came home from school on one of the breaks with one of those.
Oh,
I knew somebody that had one.
that thing. What year was that thing? 80?
88.
Oh, God, that thing was just horrible.
It was-
Did they sell
it was-
any of those
It was
things?
fugly. Well, they did because there was one in Nederland.
It was what?
It was
Well,
fugly.
that's perfect for it to be in Nederland.
So they sold at least one.
98 Indy 500 pace car. And
Gosh, that thing
it was kind of like the first time in a whole number of years that the Indy pace car wasn't black. And then they made it this weird purple and yellow.
Just terrible.
And yellow leather interior. I
No,
mean,
there were other pace cars that were white.
no, but that through the 90s, most everything was black.
And I think really it was the yellow wheels to me that really just turned it
Made
out.
it seriously ugly.
And the vinyl sticker.
Well, the vinyl sticker generally on Indy pace cars doesn't matter who. There's the elite stuff. That Mountain Motor Pro Stock.
That's what it is.
The category.
Mountain Motor. Where did they come up with that? What's the purpose? Well, I don't understand any of it.
Well, you got to remember, true pro NHRA Pro Stock, you're limited to 500 cubic inches.
Correct.
Well, and I thought it was an IHRA thing that they had a Mountain Motor Pro Stock where you could build as big as you want. And now they have these 900 cubic inch Mountain Motor Pro Stocks. Bigger is badder is faster.
But I didn't even know that there was such a thing as a 900 cubic inch anything.
But
That's not a punched out 454 or 500.
like sand dragsters.
No, I'll
and
bet
things,
it's
or
a
the mountain climbers.
aluminum block built from scratch.
I was going to say it's
specific.
probably,
My God, what are the pistons that big around in
Yeah.
it?
probably
they're
probably
big around.
derived.
Plus, the stroke too can do some.
Well,
make a
it's like
difference in it.
Jeff always says, the pistons are like a tub.
Mhm.
Tubbed out,
Tub it out.
LS.
Yep.
Then you short stroke it, you're good.
Lots of
How do you get
compression.
any RPM out of all that?
Carefully.
I was going to say, because
The nitrous.
you're moving a lot of iron inside that thing, and you get it up there 7,000 RPM is like waiting for it to pop.
Well, that's the thing with Pat Musey. He's been building a 959 LS derived engine for quite some time and sells a ton of them for $50,000-$60,000 a
Wow.
piece.
Are they race motors?
Yeah. That's
Where do you race something like that?
Well, the one I watch is the Street Outlaws, and that's what Lizzie Musey runs. Is one of his motors.
A 959 cubic
inch.
inch.
But didn't
LS derived,
My God. Why?
and they've got like six.
What kind of horsepower does
6
something
different
like that
nitrous.
turn out?
What's the warranty on it?
3,000 plus. There is no warranty.
How do you get 3,000 horsepower in a car like that to the ground? How do you get that? How do you do that? Because
Tires, suspension, weight transfer.
well, I know all of that, but I'm saying to you, it's a
How do you
clutch.
get it to bite?
Yeah, it's a clutch with a human being's foot on it.
No. They're all they're all running
Automatics,
They're all running
2
pro power glides,
2 speeds.
2-speed power glide, kind of like alcohol.
Yeah.
Funny cars are running.
So
2
they're
speeds.
okay. So they're running. All right, but still, how do you do the transmission so it just doesn't burn the tires right off the back at the hit of the throttle?
you gotta lock 'em
tune
up.
the engine down at the launch.
Yeah, launch control.
And then once the launch control, and then
Then it
the other
kicks in.
thing they talked about is once it comes up on the tire,
Yeah.
we've talked with Antron about how, you have the launch, but then as it comes up on the tire, it's almost another gear of
Mhm.
acceleration. And then they would lock the torque converter up and give you another gear of acceleration.
I was looking
Pretty
for-
high tech stuff.
I was looking for a little bit there. There is a 1,000 cubic inch monster motor available that you can buy from this guy, and you get a $12,000 discount off the price if you assemble it yourself.
Oh, heck no. Assemble it yourself. Are you trying to make it into a bomb? Because that's I would mistakenly turn it into that.
But you can buy it at IKEA.
Yeah.
But I think those actually came out of the tractor pull world where they
makes
really
sense.
had
Yeah.
unlimited. You could build anything you want.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, should I do my car review now?
I got you queued up.
You should.
Okay. And by the way, for my dear friend Jeff Heitzman that listens to the show religiously, I just wanted to let him know that not to worry. I did turn the voiceover track around so they all match up now. Thank
Allegedly.
Oh, he let you know.
Allegedly.
He brought that to your attention.
you. He brought it to
all of our
Conrad's attention.
You weren't paying attention.
830 cubic inch, 2,000 horsepower, naturally aspirated, so no nitrous or anything, with 17-to-1 compression. You talk about lighting a grenade,
Yes.
grenade and holding on to it. That's exactly what that is.
Put that on a motorcycle.
And these are looks like they're carbureted. Doesn't even look like they're fuel
it's
injected.
carbureted.
Yeah.
I mean,
Double
it looks
pumpers.
like big Dominators, Holly Dominators.
That looks
or
like a
something.
Boss 429 as well with
That's
the plugs
where
in
it
the
says
valve
boss
cover.
on there.
So yeah, there's
Thank you.
Boss right
You know,
on there.
you were that guy in high school that was always like, that's not the way to do it. You over here, do this, do that. Weren't you?
There's a young lady that'll tell you I'm still the same.
Yes, I know her. Yeah.
it's called Kathy Zekin.
Time now for this hour's car review. I had a chance to drive the all-new 2023 Kia Soul. It comes in many trim levels. The LX is the entry, S, EX, the GT line, and the GT line Tech. I did not have a Monroney with this, but I discovered through doing some research that I had the GT line Tech. What size class? This is a subcompact hatchback. Seats 5 passengers, 5 people, including the driver. Exterior changes from last year, as I mentioned. Complete redesign in 2020, updated for 2023. Now, there are some journalists, if you want to call them that think, oh, they've taken away its quirkiness. No, they haven't. It's an updated version of the original Kia Soul. It needed to be updated, and it's cute. And by the way, I'll get into this in a minute, but they don't make any competitors really a head-to-head competitor.
Wow.
Exterior features: redesigned front end with extra large open mouth lower grille, a rear sloping roof line with door and lower valance crevasses on it.
Crevasse.
You like that?
You had to look that word up.
No, actually, I put creases, but I turned it into crevasse. Nice looking rear hatch with a floating panel on the glass back there with the big Kia logo, and it's really clever and it really looks good. GT line features black or white roof option. What I liked about it, the hatch opening looks small, but you could cram more crap into this car than you have ever known in your entire life. I helped Leslie move some stuff out of her house to the storage. Oh, that won't fit. I said, watch me.
Watch me.
Fold down the back seat, and that thing, we had it up to the hilt. It was touching under. But we crammed all of that stuff in there, made it work. It's truly amazing what you can get in that little car. Interior highlights.
I thought he was going to say they're moving in together.
Lots of hard plastic on the inside. Interesting and likable design cues, like the AC vents and the front speaker are kind of combined. The way that they did it, rather unique. Really liked it. Large center dash pod contains the infotainment system, and the HVAC controls are below that. The GT line offers ambient lighting that can be programmed to the beat of the music.
Oh, wow.
It's a neat, quirky little thing that this thing offers, and I like it. Cargo and trunk room. Seats down allows you to put lots of stuff back there. That's what I wrote. Liked about it, the cloth seating. Awesome, and it looks good. And it doesn't make your butt sweat. What could use improvement? Don't know. Really. I mean, I like
Well,
this
you
car.
without a sweaty butt's pretty improved.
Yeah, just that alone.
You
Thank
did say
you.
you liked it.
And I knew that you guys would chime in on the
he
butt
would.
part of it. A 2.0 liter gasoline 4-cylinder engine. No other optional engines are available. This is it, the one and the only, with 147 horsepower and 132 pound-feet of torque. And it's delivering all that power through a CVT front-wheel drive car.
How'd it feel?
Great.
Really, with that low horsepower and torque,
Well, because of the CVT.
kept it in its power. Yeah.
I mean, this is not a race car. This is a fun little commuter car. And if you're thinking about buying your college kid or off to college soon kid a new car, I definitely consider this thing. City,
If you can get it insured.
You keep talking about that, Conrad.
he's stuck on that too.
I know.
Isn't he? Miles per gallon, 28 in the city, 33 on the highway for a combined of 30. I got 30.5 miles per gallon
Wow.
over 374.1 miles. What I liked about it was the nice power to weight ratio. What could use improvement? A turbo option. I think that they should have that.
Wow.
Well, Kia offers a turbo engine and something else.
They do, and they used to offer a turbo engine in this, but they
Yeah, I
dropped
thought
it.
that was the GT.
It's not
Dropped it,
available
huh?
anymore.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, but at any rate, they could have bring back the GTR. Ride and handling, sporty feel.
The pirate version.
The pirate version. Wouldn't they? Hey, what a great thing, huh?
You know, and he put a patch over one of the
Over half the windshield.
over one of the headlights.
Absolutely, yeah, and with some nice big eyelashes up there.
Oh, yeah. Erica's got those on her car.
Let's see pricing. Well, base price is around $25,000.
Not bad.
As I mentioned, pre-production model with no Monroney on it. I just had to guess. The base model price is under 20. It's $19,890.
Aren't many cars out there that are under
Bingo.
20.
And to offer this much utility, this is cool.
Yep.
Competitors, again, none now that the Scion XB and the Nissan Cube are gone.
Cube's long gone too.
So is Scion XB. But those were the main competitors this car.
You wouldn't consider the Mini Countryman to be a competitor?
I would not, because this is a different car altogether.
I think the Countryman's smaller. It appears to be smaller.
I think it's maybe a little shorter.
So what are you going to do
Stocking.
for competitors? Okay, well,
Sonic?
it's been offered. No, offered up the Chevy Trailblazer.
Yeah.
Okay, meh. 21.8 for the Trailblazer. How about the Kia Seltos for $23,340? You got to spend another $3,000, but there you go. Or if you want to bump it up a little bit more, the Mazda CX-30 for $22,950. That's the entry price, and that's my review of the 2023 Kia Soul. All right, time now for a quick break. Don't forget, welcome to the world that we live in today, because
It's about to go EV.
it is about to go EV, and we're going to have a special guest for us that I can make fun of. Coming up,
He'd be listening.
Yeah, he'd be listening.
coming up, okay. Well,
Hey, Buzz, you got power?
you got power?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, of course he does. He's got the car plugged into the house. The car's charging the house. Anyway, stay with us. The In Will Time Car Talk Show continues right after this quick break.
Pipes and Tacos, Houston's
no,
premier.
no,
You own
no,
it.
no, we're not going to do that. We're going to do it this way.
Tailpipes and Tacos, Houston's premier car cruise and return. Saturday, April 15th to the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy, 8 to 11 a.m. Bring your Hot Rod Classic Resto Mod or any other vehicle you'd like to show and compete for one of 3 highly coveted Chili Pepper trophies. This April 15th kickoff event is one you'll want to put on your calendar, because 100% of the money you donate for the free tacos will be given to God's Garage. You heard right. Free tacos. Whatever you decide to give, all of it will be given to God's Garage and matched by Lupi Tortilla. God's Garage gifts vehicles to single mothers, widows, and wives of deployed military in the greater Houston area. In fact, the garage will gift a vehicle to a mom in need at this special event. Be sure to attend the next Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise-In, Saturday, April 15th, 8 to 11 a.m. at the Lupe Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10. Free breakfast tacos for any donation to God's Garage. It'll make your heart and your belly feel good. You own a car you love. Well, why not let Gulf Coast Auto Shield protect it? Houstonian John Gray invites you to his state-of-the-art facility to introduce you to his specialist team of auto enthusiasts. We promise you'll be impressed. Whether you're looking to massage your original paint to a like-new appearance, apply a ceramic coating, install a paint protection film, nano-ceramic window tint, or new windshield protection called ExoShield, Gulf Coast Auto Shield is where Houston's car people go. Curbed your wheels? Instead of buying new, why not have them repaired? How about a professionally installed radar detector? Gulf Coast Auto Shield does that too. Get a peek inside the shop and look at the services offered by getting online and heading to gcautoshield.com. Better yet, stop by their facility at 11275 South Sam Houston Tollway, just south of the Southwest Freeway, and get a personal tour. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is your place to go for all things exterior. Call them today, 832-930-5655 or gcautoshield.com. The award-winning In Wheel Time Car Talk Show is available on the most popular podcast channels out there in 30-minute episodes. We realize our 3-hour live show can be difficult to catch in its entirety, so now you can listen every day to a convenient, fresh 30-minute episode. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Audible, along with a dozen more. In Wheel Time has the most informative automotive guest interviews and new car reviews, along with popular features including Conrad's Car Clinic and This Week in Auto History, along with automotive news headlines. Our live broadcast airs every Saturday, 8 to 11 Central on InWheelTime.com, the iHeart app, and on YouTube. Be sure to say hello when we're broadcasting from the Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise-In, Autorama, and the Houston Auto Show, among others. Now, it's easier than ever to hear about all things automotive all week long. You're invited to join fellow car enthusiasts in becoming part of the ever-growing In Wheel Time Car Talk family. Don't forget those 30-minute podcast episodes on your favorite podcast channel. Welcome to the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. Coming up, we are going to have a very special guest.
Really?
Again, because there's been some changes. Oh, those many changes in just a week. And we're going to talk to Buzz Smith, Mr. EV, about that. And let's see, what else do we have this hour? This half hour?
History.
Yes, This Week in Auto History. Conrad's going to have that, so stay with us. Welcome to the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. Along with Mike Out of This World Mars, King Conrad DeLong. We need more Jeff Zekin. I'm Don Armstrong. And joining us now from North Texas, the land of the frozen. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Buzz Smith.
The evangelist.
Evangelist. So, hi, Buzz. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Well, we're doing fine, thank you. So, did you have any repercussions from the ugly weather up there?
Other than being cold, no. House stayed powered the whole time.
Of course it did.
Well, that's good because from what we hear down here in these parts down south, that there were lots of power outages, a lot of slick roads, a lot of accidents, and all that good stuff.
Well, I work from home, so I didn't have to hit the roads. For the people in Dallas-Fort Worth that did have to hit the roads, it was pretty brutal out there.
The roads hit back.
Yeah. So I have to ask you, how was the Houston Automotive Show for you?
Oh, my gosh, it was amazing. Kind of a weird coincidence. This guy came up and he converts gasoline-powered vehicles to electric, but in order to keep the cost low, he's worked on only really 2 models to convert them so they could standardize the brackets and everything. And he pulled out his phone to show me pictures of the vehicle, and he showed me a Triumph TR6. And I used to have a Triumph TR6, and I've often thought about, wouldn't it be cool to have one of those that's electric? But he's based down there in the Houston area. And basically, if you've got a TR6 or a Triumph Spitfire, he can convert it to electricity.
Wow. Okay. I don't know if I'd want to do that, but okay. I mean,
Well, he also let the transmission in. So if you like shifting a manual transmission, you can still do it. If you want the pure EV experience, you just start off in fourth gear and that's it. You just drive it like an electric.
Wow.
Or if you really want to be unusual, you do a TR7.
The shape of things to come.
Yeah. Well, I got a couple stories here. Let me get this one in first because this is for you, Buzz. You probably already know this because you know everything. Road trips in electric vehicles could soon become more feasible and easier to plan with Electrify America charging stations coming to travel centers across the U.S. Electrify America and Travel Centers of America detailed a new partnership Monday to install 1,000 chargers at 200 travel centers locations across the U.S. major highways over the next 5 years. Companies plan to launch the first chargers this year. GM, EVgo, and Pilot Flying J in July made a similar agreement with plans to install 2,000 chargers at 500 Pilot Flying J travel centers, and I am sure that Buc-ee's is not far behind.
I was thinking the same thing.
But here's the thing that we wanted to talk about. U.S. Treasury Department on Friday said it has modified how it is classifying vehicles that are subject to price caps and the Inflation Reduction Act's tax credit for consumers buying new electric vehicles. The department said it will now use the consumer-facing EPA fuel economy label standard to determine whether a vehicle is a sedan, SUV, pickup, or van, instead of using EPA corporate average fuel economy or CAFE standards. This change will allow crossover vehicles that share similar features to be treated consistently, according to the Treasury Secretary. It will also align vehicle classifications under the Clean Vehicle Credit with the classification displayed on the vehicle label and on the consumer-facing website fueleconomy.gov.
Let's make this as confusing as we can.
Oh,
exactly.
Just wait. It gets better.
The tax credit known as 30D. 30D. I'm not even going to go there. Let's not even get me going on the classification known as 30D. At least it's not double D.
Limits
the suggested retail price to no more than $80,000 for new pickups, SUVs, and vans, and to no more than $55,000 for other vehicles such as sedans. Treasury did not classify the Cadillac Lyriq as an SUV, for example, meaning its retail price could not exceed $55,000. The Lyriq, which Automotive News classifies as a mid-size crossover, starts at $62,990.
That's odd, yeah.
Under the new vehicle classification standards announced Friday by Treasury, the Lyriq would be considered a small SUV. So let's confuse the issue even more and bring in Buzz, who knows all about this and how to decipher this crap. I'm serious. What is... I don't get it. I know everybody's trying to get to this, a $7,500 thing, credit from the government. But really, why does it have to be so complicated?
Well, that's one of the gifts of government, is to take something that should be relatively simple and just making it
a mess,
unintelligible for the rest of us. But you're right, and it's worse than you think, because for last year, and that's for you guys filing your income tax this year, this is going to be important to you. It wasn't even consistent for that year. Everything changed on August 16th when they passed the new infrastructure law. So let's dive right into this. One of the things that you just talked about, and that is important, is the big news yesterday. Apparently, there are two different places in the government where they classify vehicles. One of them, the EPA, right on the window sticker tells you if it's an SUV or if it's a sedan or whatever.
Yep.
But the new incentives were based on something that the public didn't see. So you could walk up and say, "Oh, this is an SUV. It's got a credit of price limit of $80,000. Buy it, take it home, and then find out later when you file your income tax, oh no, that one's not an SUV. That's just a car." So they finally clarified it and made it what's on the window sticker. So as a person walks up and sees the window sticker, look at that EPA information. It'll tell you what kind of vehicle is. And that's what everything will be based on going forward. Now, one thing, at the end of this segment, I'm going to give you customers a website where you can go find all this stuff. You don't have to take notes right now. You don't have to memorize this stuff. But when I give you this website, you'll be able to go, and all the information's in one spot where you can check it out very easily. So let's start with last year. If you bought a vehicle last year, the old tax credit, and it's a tax credit, not a tax deduction. And for the uninitiated, you know, if you put in a tax deduction of $7,500, you might get $2,000 back. If you put in a tax credit of $7,500, you're getting refunded $7,500 that you would have otherwise paid into your income tax. Now, if you have, you know, a $15,000 income tax debt, then it's just going to reduce it by $7,500. So for last year, what you're filing your taxes for this year, this is going to be very important. Now, the vehicle, if it was delivered or you signed a binding contract, not just ordering it, but something that required that you buy that vehicle before August 6th, then you don't have to care about any of this. Last year's rules apply. You get the $7,500, depending on battery size, up to $7,500 and up to what your total tax burden is. So if you're a retiree like me and maybe your entire tax burden is $5,000, then you'll only get $5,000 back. Now, if it was on or after August 16th, these are the rules that will apply when you file this year. First off, it has to be assembled in North America plus Puerto Rico, which is part of the United States. So Mexico, the United States, or Canada. For some reason, the U.S. Virgin Islands, which are also a commonwealth under the United States, was not included. But both Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands, as far as I know, make no electric vehicles that would qualify for this anyway, so it's not that big a deal. Now, this is new vehicles only from any country of origin. So
battery electric vehicles.
Battery electric vehicles, plug-in hybrid vehicles, or fuel cell vehicles. So hydrogen fuel cells. Yep. I mean, there's no hydrogen stations in Texas, but you guys are broadcast to 40 countries. So this, again, applies to the United States IRS only.
Right.
Now, the new rule says, or the old rule says that it had to have 4 wheels starting on August 16th. You can't get a 3-wheeler like the, say, the Aptera. That would not qualify for this. And it's up to $7,500 depending on battery size. Now, they let the battery size go as small as 7 kilowatt hours. And at about 3.5 kilowatt miles per kilowatt hour, if you have a plug-in hybrid with about 24 miles of range, you're probably right at the bare minimum of what it takes to qualify. And you would get the smallest income tax credit that they offer, which is down around $4,000. It has to have an external power source for charging. So that means no old style hybrids like the Priuses that you don't plug in, only the Prius Prime that you actually plug into the wall. In other words, plug-in hybrids, or you may see the term PHEV for plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. It has to weigh less than 14,000 pounds, but even the Hummer weighs 9,000. So if you can find an EV that's heavier than that, it's probably a semi. It's new EVs only, and they cannot be for resale. So you can't, like a ticket scalper, you can't go in and order say a Chevrolet Silverado EV, and when it comes in, sell it to somebody else and then go ahead and claim that tax credit. The new law says you have to hold on to it for at least a year. Now, there may be a lease loophole in this, and we're going to cover that in a little bit. It has to be used primarily in the United States. So you can't buy it here and take it to Mexico or Canada and live there. It's got to be here because we want it to benefit the United States environment.
Because we don't care about the environment elsewhere than the United States.
Well, the
those breezes don't cross the international border.
No, they stop there.
You're making my head hurt, dude.
But anyway,
the whole of the
border's closed, even to breezes.
There is kind of a weird thing about leases. You know, a lease company buys the vehicle and rents it to you, basically. So in the past, Nissan dealerships, when they controlled the leasing company, they would lease you the vehicle. They would get the $7,500 tax credit and apply almost all of that to the sale price of the vehicle. So it was really kind of a neat thing that Nissan did that no one else was doing to lower the initial price of that vehicle so that your financing was less, so that lower income people could qualify for that. There was also last year before August 6th or before December 31st, a cap on all manufacturers. You could not sell more than 200,000 of these vehicles, or they started phasing out that 7,500. It would get cut in half for 2 consecutive quarters and then turned off completely. So in the case of General Motors and Tesla, for a couple of years now, their customers haven't been able to use the income tax credit because they just sold too many of them. And Toyota was down to about half of the $7,500 credit because of all the Prius primes that they sold. Now, if you're buying the vehicle this year, January 1st and on, here's the new rules. Again, the delivery or binding contract had to be after August 16th. And of course, you're buying it this year. It's up to 7,500 again. We talked about minimum battery size. By the way, if you're thinking about a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle, unless you take very long trips, very often skip plug-in hybrids. It's training wheels for an electric vehicle. Go ahead and jump on board and get you an EV. I wish I had done that now. It's a better way to go. There are some great resources that, again, we'll cover at the end of this that will tell you exactly where to go for the information. Now, here's the new restrictions that were not on this last year. Your adjusted gross income, which if you file Form 1040, it's line 11, has limits now. Now, this is if it was after August 16th or on, you can use either the 2022 or 2023 adjusted gross income, whichever is lower. So let's say you retire at the end of 2022 and you know you're going to make a lot less money, but you have big taxes from last year. You can go ahead and when 2023 comes along and you have a lower income level, you can use that to get the tax credit. Those limits are if you're married filing jointly, you can earn up to $300,000 adjusted gross income again. Head of household, $225,000. Everybody else, $150,000. These are for individuals only, not for companies. Again, they've added another thing, MSRP limits. Now, this is not the negotiated price. This is the window sticker, the MSRP number, but before things like transporting it to the dealership. Like in the case of Chevrolet vehicles, I think transport fee anywhere in the U.S. is $875. So it's the price of the vehicle plus the price of the factory installed options, not anything installed at the dealership. That's considered to be the MSRP that we're going to base the next stuff on. So that MSRP for pickups and SUVs that we talked about is $80,000. The other vehicles are $55,000. Now, the confusion that happened and got fixed yesterday, if you take the Tesla Model Y, for instance, now Tesla can get the income tax credit again. But if it was a 7-seat Model Y, it was an SUV. If it's a 5-seat Model Y, it was a car. Well, that's just crazy. So now both the 5 and 7-seat are considered an SUV. So that Model Y price can go all the way up to $80,000 and you could still get or MSRP, not price, go all the way up to $80,000 and you would still qualify for the tax credit.
Buzz, we got 3 minutes here, so we got to kind of get it going.
Okay. Country of assembly has to be North America or Puerto Rico. The dealer must provide information to both the buyer and the IRS about the car. It cannot be for resale. You have to keep it a minimum of 1 year, has to be primarily for street use. And coming soon, and this is the really important news, in March, they are going to add another limit, and that is where the chemicals inside the battery come from. If they don't come from North America, you'll lose half of the $7,500. Right now, the government and the OEMs don't even know how they're going to account for that data, but on March, it's going to be decided. So, for instance, if you're looking at a Chevrolet Bolt EV or Bolt EUV, buy it before March to get the full $7,500. Those battery chemicals came from outside the U.S. Manchin is throwing another curve at us saying that, well, if you can't adhere to all the rules, then let's not have any income tax credit. But that has not passed and probably won't. finally, the big news, and there'll be more details on the links I'm going to give you, is that used cars for the very first time qualify for a tax credit of up to $4,000. It can't exceed 30% of the vehicle price. Again, this will all be covered. And for the used cars, the adjusted gross income is half of the limits I set before. Now, if you want to find the detailed information, go to my blog. It's www.theev, like electric vehicle, then a hyphen or a dash, angelist.com. So again, that's www.theev-angelist.com. And at the very top menu, you'll see blog. Click on the blog, and the very top article in the blog is all the information you need for getting that income tax credit.
Now you know what my answer to that is, don't you?
Get rid of the tax credit, probably.
Nope. Buy a gasoline motor.
I was thinking the same thing.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I just had to go there.
My head hurts.
My God, man.
Mine too. Overnight, I was basically writing all this up. I'm thinking, holy cow, how much more complex could it be?
It's so
Your
stupid.
tax dollars at work.
Yeah, we're going to hang the carrot in front of you and get you to run after it. And then in March, we're going to change the rules again so you can't achieve it.
Yeah. So we're going to screw you
Wait a
any
minute.
way we
If you
can.
buy before March, the rules that are in effect right now stay in effect, so you don't lose it.
So
But
buy
if
your
you
EV
order it
before
now
March.
and it's delivered after March, then you could get caught.
I want my
But
pipe.
those
delivered.
rules are also back to January the 1st. If you bought one the first week of January or something, these new rules are adaptable.
I want
Yeah,
my
but those new rules were known all the way back into August of last year, so everybody should have already known about that.
I want my pipeline back.
I want your pipe back.
Buzz, thank you. We appreciate you.
Actually, very good information.
It really is.
It makes my head hurt. But again, that's the complication of government.
We love you, man.
Yeah.
Talk to you soon. Thank you.
Stay
Take care,
warm.
guys.
All right, time now for This Week in Auto History. I just got to move on. I can't think about this anymore. It does. It makes my head hurt.
Well, we're going to run out of time to get everything else in.
Well, we are. So I don't think we can do it all. Do you?
Sure, we
No,
can.
no, we can't. So I want to. Could you save it? Well, no, we'll lose it. So just do it.
Yeah, do it.
We'll fix it.
In 1911, Rolls-Royce adopted the Spirit of Ecstasy mascot. Not ecstasy like you're thinking about when you were in high school. The silver-winged hood ornament that has become the company's symbol is the Spirit of Ecstasy. And, now on the Rolls-Royces, when you turn the car off, this drops down below the grill so you can't snap
Steal
it
it.
off and
Yeah.
steal it.
Really?
That was a fad back a long time ago.
Go ahead.
In 1920, Morris Markin established the Checker Cab
Sure it's not
Company.
Birkin? Go ahead.
Markin. The Checker Cab Company, and he moved it to Kalamazoo, Michigan from Illinois and took the factories that had previously been used by Hadley Knight and the Dort automobile companies.
The Dort.
It'd be the Dort
Mr.
Merkin.
So that was the original Checker Cab there, and then everybody else also remembers the second generation or third generation Checker Cab that they used up until I think there's still some of them in use today in New York. In 1923, gasoline mixed with tetraethanol lead was first sold to the public at a roadside gas station owned by Willard Talbot in Dayton, Ohio, coined ethyl gasoline. And it was developed by Charles Kettering of General Motors. The blend was discovered by GM Lab trying to fix the spark knock issues that they were having. Reportedly, 7 years of research and development, GM Lab tested at least 33,000 compounds to reduce the spark knock. Leaded gasoline would fill the world's gas tanks until emissions concern led to the invention of unleaded gasoline in the early 70s. And it was never recalled. Think about that. GM gave us leaded gasoline. In 1948, the first Cadillac with tail fins was produced.
Betcha.
And it was the start of the tail fin era.
That's not a Cadillac with tail fins.
No,
Go on.
that's backwards. Okay. The 1948 Cadillac with tail fins. Go to the next one then. And it stayed in market until the 1959. And in 1959, the final year, the Cadillac with tail fins was the year of the tallest tail fin at Cadillac.
Gorgeous.
And that was also the year that they eliminated. That was the final year for tail fins. In 1952, the first "Don't Walk" sign was installed in New York City. The city erected the signs in response to growing awareness of pedestrian fatalities. They didn't understand "Don't walk" on the red light, walk on the green light, and they still don't. This is New York. We don't really care. You can't tell us what to do. In 1954, Mercedes introduced the 200 SL Coupe to the public, a stylish sport car characterized by its gull-wing doors, which has become one of the most valuable cars in the world over and over again.
It was cool in the day. Now, man, not so much.
And it was actually the engine was the first gasoline direct injected engine. The engine in the fuel injection system was out of a Messerschmitt
fighter jet,
fighter plane,
yeah.
World War II fighter plane.
And those Cadillac taillights, those little round,
The bullets.
the bullets, very, very expensive.
Oh, I'm sure.
The originals are thousands of dollars.
If you could find it.
If you can find them.
All right. I think we squeezed everything in.
We did.
I don't know how we did it, but we did it. And I don't have anything else.
Okay.
All right. So, Mr. Mars, do you have anything else that you'd like to throw in here? That's it. All right. Thank you. We've got more of the In-Wheels. We're going to wrap up today's In-Wheel Time Car
There's
Talk
more?
Show.
I thought that was it.
There's more.
Right after this. Wait, there's more.
Tailpipes and Tacos, Houston's premier car cruise-in returns Saturday, April 15th to the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy, 8 to 11 a.m. Bring your Hot Rod Classic, Resto Mod, or any other vehicle you'd like to show and compete for one of 3 highly coveted Chili Pepper trophies. This April 15th kickoff event is one you'll want to put on your calendar because 100% of the money you donate for the free tacos will be given to God's Garage. You heard right. Free tacos. Whatever you decide to give, all of it will be given to God's Garage and matched by Lupi Tortilla. God's Garage gifts vehicles to single mothers, widows, and wives of deployed military in the greater Houston area. In fact, the garage will gift a vehicle to a mom in need at this special event. Be sure to attend the next Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise-In, Saturday, April 15th, 8 to 11 a.m. at the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10. Free breakfast tacos for any donation to God's Garage. It'll make your heart and your belly feel good. You own a car you love. Well, why not let Gulf Coast Auto Shield protect it? Houstonian John Gray invites you to his state-of-the-art facility to introduce you to his specialist team of auto enthusiasts. We promise you'll be impressed. Whether you're looking to massage your original paint to a like-new appearance, apply a ceramic coating, install a paint protection film, nano-ceramic window tint, or new windshield protection called ExoShield, Gulf Coast Auto Shield is where Houston's car people go. Curbed your wheels? Instead of buying new, why not have them repaired? How about a professionally installed radar detector? Gulf Coast Auto Shield does that too. Get a peek inside the shop and look at the services offered by getting online and heading to gcautoshield.com. Better yet, stop by their facility at 11275 South Sam Houston Tollway, just south of the Southwest Freeway, and get a personal tour. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is your place to go for all things exterior. Call them today, 832-930-5655 or gcautoshield.com. The award-winning In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show is available on the most popular podcast channels out there in 30-minute episodes. We realize our 3-hour live show can be difficult to catch in its entirety, so now you can listen every day to a convenient, fresh 30-minute episode. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Audible, along with a dozen more. In-Wheel Time has the most informative automotive guest interviews and new car reviews, along with popular features including Conrad's Car Clinic and This Week in Auto History, along with automotive news headlines. Our live broadcast airs every Saturday, 8 to 11 Central on InWheelTime.com, the iHeart app, and on YouTube. Be sure to say hello when we're broadcasting from the Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise-In, Autorama, and the Houston Auto Show, among others. Now, it's easier than ever to hear about all things automotive all week long. You're invited to join fellow car enthusiasts in becoming part of the ever-growing In-Wheel Time Car Talk family. Don't forget those 30-minute podcast episodes on your favorite podcast channel.
Well, that's a wrap for this week's In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show. When you're online, check out our Facebook page. Give us a like. Tell your friends about us if you would. Share it, junk, please. You'll get Conrad's Unicorn hunting features along with all things automotive all week long, including new car reviews, upcoming events, cruise-ins, racing events, and other informative and entertaining goodies. You can find the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app. Be sure to catch In Wheel Time Car Talk on our live video stream on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and InWheelTime.com every Saturday, 8 to 11 Central. Daily 30-minute podcasts available from over a dozen of the most popular podcast providers. The In Wheel Time Chief Engineer is David Ainsley. Our Marketing Advertising Manager and Video Technical Director is We Need More, Jeff Zekin. For Booking Agent and Podcast Twiddler, Mike Mars. And Mr. Know-It-All, his royalty, King Conrad DeLong, I'm Don Armstrong. Please join us again next for our next live 3-hour In Wheel Time Car Talk Show, Saturday, February 11th, 2023, 8 to 11 a.m. Central Time on all of our In Wheel Time Car Talk outlets. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. Let's visit again next week. So long for now.